1 of the American League Championship Series. A series featuring 2 superstar shortstops. We wave at it from Jeter, and he goes down on 3 pitches. For the Yankees, Derek Jeter. An evening of uncharacteristic ineffectiveness. He strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. But as Jeter struggled, his friend and rival, Seattle's Alex Rodriguez, flourished, and his team took the lead in the series. Rodriguez wasn't alone. Seattle had other heroes. Young Freddie Garcia hurled the game of his career, combining with a trio of relievers for a dominating 6-hit, 13 strikeout shutout. Now, down 0-1, the Yankees turn to their hero of recent postseasons. Orlando Hernandez has never lost a playoff or World Series game. His record in October is 6-0. And this afternoon at Yankee Stadium, he'll stare down those trying to put an end to this Yankee dynasty. Game 2 next.
This is the Sun America NBC pregame show. The 2000 American League Championship Series. Today, Game 2, the Seattle Mariners versus the New York Yankees.
If you grew up in New York, this has to bring back memories. Midweek October playoff or World Series game, you skip school or you leave work early, you take the 4 train, arrive at Yankee Stadium, shadows covering the field, and what a perfect day this is. 61 degrees and sunny as the Yankees will send Orlando Hernandez to the mound against the Mariners' John Halama. Welcome to Game 2, everybody. With Joe Morgan, I'm Bob Costas. We are definitely in the Bronx, but where are the Bronx Bombers?
Well, Bob, they have not been the Bronx Bombers this entire postseason. They're not hitting in the clutch. They're not hitting with any power. In fact, they've only hit 1 home run the last 10 ball games. And actually, their frustrations really continued last night when they were just not able to do anything with Freddie Garcia. They had 13 strikeouts, including 3 by Derek Jeter. They also had strikeouts of Paul O'Neill and Bernie Williams in the 6th inning when they had a big threat going and they had the tying runs on base.
Meanwhile, the Mariners' confidence must continue to grow. They've now won 6 consecutive games dating back to the end of the regular season. They've won 7 of 11 head-to-head against the Yankees and 4 of 5 at Yankee Stadium. To stem the tide, New York calls on Orlando Hernandez. He is pitching today on his birthday. There's some dispute as to whether it's the 31st or 35th for El Duque, but there's no dispute about this. Despite this year's sub-500 record, he has been one of the great postseason pitchers in recent history.
And Bob, he hasn't been frustrated this season with a 12-13 record, but he's a guy that can focus. He has focused completely well in the division playoff and in the ALCS, but he focuses, he turns up the intensity, and he's the right guy to have on the mound today because this is a must game for the Yankees.
He had 2 starts this year against Seattle, lost 1 of them, pitched well in the other. It was a no decision. He's opposed by 28-year-old left-hander John Halama, who went 14-9 this year. He's a Brooklyn product. 2 of those 14 victories came at the Yankees' expense. He was 2-0 against New York in the 2000 season. Here's his manager, Lou Piniella, with Jim Gray.
It's always good to get the first one. I'm sure that's the way you feel, Lou, but every game, the momentum can change. What do you have to do today so that you can go back to Seattle feeling good about yourselves?
Well, you're right, Jim. Every game has a life of its own in these playoffs, but we need the same ingredient we got yesterday for Johnny Halama to give us 6-7 good innings of baseball and give our team a chance to win. We can do that. Our bullpens pitch very well, and we can get in there.
With El Duque in the lineup, you've made some changes today?
Well, we put a little left-hand hitting in there. El Duque's been exceedingly tough against right-hand hitting all year. We added our 2 corner outfielders, Javier and Martin, into the lineup, and hopefully they'll give us a spark.
All right, Lou, good luck today.
Thank you.
That's the story from over here at the Mariners. Let's send it across the way to Jimmy Roberts in the Yankee dugout.
Well, Jim, an amazing fact, the Yankees have won the American League Championship Series 8 of the 9 times they've played in it. Last time they lost was 20 years ago to Kansas City. That streak could be in jeopardy, Dave Justice, unless you guys start hitting. What's wrong?
There's nothing wrong. Garcia pitched a great game last night, and in the playoffs, pitching is always the key because you're playing the best teams, And usually the best teams have the best pitching. And you know the old adage, good pitching will always be good hitting. That's all.
All right, tonight the order's been shook up a little bit. Paul O'Neill moves to the 7th spot. You move up to 3. What kind of impact does it have psychologically when a player gets moved in the order?
Really, it has no psychological advantage for myself because I'll take the same approach in the 3rd slot as I would in the 5th slot that I'm usually in. I just think that our manager just trying to shake it up, just try to probably spark us a little bit, or maybe he just thinks the matchup is better that way. I don't know yet. That's me.
All right. Dave Justice, thanks for stopping by. Good luck tonight. Bob, back to you.
All right, Jimmy, thanks. The lineups and the first pitcher next. We'll be back after these messages and a word from your local station.
This has been the Sun America NBC pregame show. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
And a look at the MasterCard starting lineup for Lou Pinella's Seattle Mariners. Switch hitter Stan Javier is in there playing right field. Jay Buhner sits down for this one. In his customary cleanup spot and as the DH, Edgar Martinez, as you see, has had a lot of success against El Duque. This is one of the marks of Martinez. It may seem odd to say, but not everybody with a high batting average hits top pitchers well. There are a handful of guys who will hit the Orlando Hernandezes, the Mariano Riveras. Martinez is one of those guys.
Well, he is considered the best right-handed hitter in the American League.
The Yankees take the field. As you see, the shadows completely cover the pitcher's mound and by now most of the infield. Perhaps you remember those World Series games of years past with slightly earlier starts where the pitcher's mound would be in sunshine and the area between the mound and the plate would be in shadows. Looking at Sandy Koufax coming out of the sunshine and into the shadows was absolutely brutal.
Looking at Koufax anytime was brutal. There you see that Luis Sojo has started every postseason game at second base. He took over for Chuck Knobloch as soon as the postseason started, and he's played every game there. And he's played well.
Had a couple of hits last night, but part of the problem for Joe Torre, he wants to keep Knobloch's bat in the lineup because he can be an igniter and he can run the bases. But generally, you don't want your DH to be the kind of hitter Knobloch is. You want him to be a power guy. If Knobloch could play second base as he used to, and if he weren't a defensive liability, you could have Sojo coming off the bench for late inning switches. You could DH a guy like Glenn Allen Hill, and you could get some extra pop in a lineup that is slumping.
That's exactly right, Bob. I mean, and that's what they should be doing, but they do not want to put Chuck Knobloch's glove in the lineup. So now you're actually weakening two positions. You're putting Sojo in there who's not going to hit for any power, and you're leading Knobloch in the DH spot, which is to provide power.
El Duque on his birthday. Yankee media guide says it's his 31st. Those in the know back in Cuba guessed 35. He started this season 4-0. Then elbow problems and back spasms put him on the DL in July. When he came off, he went on a 5-game losing streak. He wound up 12-13, but he has never lost a playoff or World Series game. He's had 7 postseason starts, 1 no decision, 6 victories.
It was interesting what we watched him do there. He walked off his steps so that he'd know exactly how far he's supposed to land in his steps to the plate. Let's take a look at the scouting report on El Duque. You can't measure a guy's heart and his intensity with these statistics, but this is basically what he does. He throws from a variety of angles, hides the ball very well with that high leg kick, and we all know he's a clutch performer. He's never lost in the postseason. One other thing that he has done is he's gone away from that slurve, which is in between a curve and a slider, and he throws mostly sliders now with a variation of speed. So that's one of the things that he changed when he came back off the disabled list.
Given his 17-9 record of a year ago, plus his October success, and the kind of team the Yankees have been in recent years, I would have been willing to bet that El Duque would have been a 20-game winner this year. Certainly not 12-13. But he spent a stretch on the DL, as I said, and the Yankees had only the 5th best record in the American League, winning but 87 games.
But he does have a problem with left-handed hitters because he doesn't really have an out pitch for left-handers. He doesn't throw hard enough to overpower them. He doesn't have a great curveball that bothers the left-handed hitters. But what he does do is he'll use a cut fastball every once in a while to jam them, and then he'll use the backdoor breaking ball towards the outside corner. So he has to finesse the left-handed hitters. There's not one pitch that he can use exclusively against left-handed hitters.
So to get a couple more left-handed bats in the lineup in addition to Olerud, Piniella is using the switch hitter Stan Javier in right instead of Jay Buhner. And in left, instead of Ricky Henderson, who will open this one on the bench, it'll be the former Pirate and Padre Al Martin, a dangerous left-handed bat, especially here at Yankee Stadium. There's Javier waiting on deck as Mike Cameron will lead it off.
Leading off for Seattle, number 44, Mike Cameron. Center field, number 44.
Cameron hasn't hit much in the postseason, just 3 for 16 and 0 for 4 last night in Seattle's 2-0 win. Hernandez's 6-0 career postseason record includes a win in last week's division series against Oakland. And a swing and a miss. The plate umpire is Angel Hernandez, and he could be a key. We'll watch to see if he gives El Duque the corners. And his opponent today, Halama, is also a finesse guy, not overpowering, likes to move it in and out, up and down. We'll see what kind of strike zone Hernandez gives them. 0-2.
I think another important factor is not just whether he gives them the corners or not, but how far off the corners will the hitters chase.
That one missed. How good has the Hernandez family been in October? Livan Hernandez had San Francisco's only victory in their division series loss to the Mets. He's now 5-0 as a postseason pitcher. So the Hernandez brothers are a combined 11-0 in the playoffs and World Series. The 8 games for El Duque, 7 starts, and he pitched to 2 batters in the 8th inning of Game 5 of the division series this past Sunday in Oakland. The first time he'd been used out of the bullpen in the major leagues. He did occasionally pitch in relief in Cuba. Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball on the corner.
Well, El Duque keeps going out there towards the corner. He was off the corner with a couple of pitches. And you can see that maybe Angel gave him one there. Watch this pitch. That pitch is quite a bit off the plate outside.
Right field, number 28.
You see Mike Cameron not real happy.
Now the well-traveled veteran Stan Javier fouling the first one back. Javier was a member of the 1989 world champion Oakland A's. He's the son of the longtime Cardinals second baseman, Julian Javier. And named for Stan Musial, Julian Javier's teammate with the Cardinals in the 60s.
And he said he was the only guy in the whole town, maybe even the country, that was named Stan. He said everyone was named Miguel and Juan. He was very funny about that.
Hernandez gets ahead of him 1-2. As you see, Javier has had his share of success against El Duque. And he hangs in.
Javier is a great guy to have on a ball club because he can spot start, he can pinch hit, he's a switch hitter, he runs well, and he's a good defensive player.
If he had hit as well as his namesake, I guess they would have had to call him Stan the Hombre. Named for Stan the Man. But Javier has not posted a .331 lifetime mark. Down he goes. 2 straight strikeouts to start it for Hernandez.
And the one thing that Hernandez has been able to do so far is use his fastball and establish that he will use it. And that's very important. This ball just tails away and goes down and away, a sinker down and away. And every once in a while when he throws a changeup, it will move like a splitter. That is not a splitter. It has splitter action, but it's not a splitter.
Rodriguez. Shortstop. Number 3.
A smattering of boos for Rodriguez, but even the Yankee fans don't have their hearts in this. You've got to admire and appreciate this great young player. He was 1 for 3 last night. The one hit was a home run off Denny Nagel. Quickly, Hernandez gets ahead again, 0-2. Steps out and quickly back in. And the 0-2 pitch.
And you have to like what El Duque is doing. He is using his fastball a lot because he knows as the game progresses he'll lose a little bit of his fastball and then he can go to the breaking ball.
Called strike 3. He struck out the side. Yankees coming up in the first. Here's the MasterCard starting lineup for the defending champion Yankees. Same people. Their slots in the lineup adjusted a bit. O'Neill dropped down to 7th. Justice up to 3rd. Soho had a pair of singles last night.
It was interesting that Joe Torre told us that on the way out last night, Paul O'Neill asked him, am I playing tomorrow? And Joe said, of course you're playing. And there's the defense behind Halama. They're a very good defensive ball club. That's the 4th fewest in the major leagues, but they were 2nd in the American League. Only the good defensive-minded Cleveland Indians were better. So they play good defense, they pitch well, and that's why they've been so successful this year. Big difference from the team that started in the Kingdome the last couple of years.
Halama is a New Yorker, a Brooklyn product. Went to Bishop Ford High School in Brooklyn. His family still lives in Bay Ridge. But he says growing up, he wasn't really an avid baseball fan. To the extent that he rooted at all, it was for the Mets. He was fond of the 1986 World Champion Mets. He never went to a single game at Yankee Stadium as a kid. Never set foot here until he arrived as a player. He says most of his family are Met fans, but his mother's a Yankee fan who admits that she's rooting for the Yanks to win the series, but for the Mariners to win the games that Halama pitches.
Well, the top 3 hitters in this lineup are 11 for 26 against Halama, so first inning very key for him.
2-0 the count. In addition to Angel Hernandez, who's got the plate, Wally Bell is the umpire at first, Mark Hirschbeck at second, Jerry Davis at third. John Hirschbeck, who had the plate last night, is in right today, and Randy Marsh calls the plays down the line and left. 3-0.
Halama had pitched 12 2/3 innings against the Yankees without allowing a base on balls, and now he falls behind 3-0 to the first hitter here at the bottom of the first inning.
Knobloch taking all the way, strike 1. Right field is already completely in shadows. Right center partially covered. But a good bit of center field and all of left is still in sunshine. And as you may know, in October especially, left field is a treacherous sun field at Yankee Stadium. Knobloch works a leadoff walk. With more, here's Jimmy Roberts.
Well, Bob, that's a good point. Dave Justice and Bernie Williams just came into the dugout, and they said that anything down the left field line for at least the next 2 innings could be serious trouble. Bob?
Thank you, Jimmy. In addition to left field, totally bathed in sunshine now, you've got those streams of light coming through the portals and the little slots along the upper deck, which can make it tough for both the center fielder and the left fielder. Jeter trying to shake off the 3 strikeouts in game 1. Looks to bunt and fouls it off.
I think that's a good idea. Try to bunt for a base hit. That's not a sacrifice. You're just trying to push it down the first base line for a base hit. And if he's not successful at beating it out, he would have at least moved Chuck Knobloch into scoring position. And I think it's very important for the Yankees to try to score first. I mean, they've been falling behind. You can't do that against good teams. And especially a team here at your stadium like the Mariners.
He nearly threw it away. Knobloch dives back. Chuck stole 15 bases this year and was thrown out 7 times.
Well, he hangs. Watch his right leg. He just hangs it in the air, and then he steps over there. That's actually a pretty honest move, meaning he did not balk. It was not a balk move. He stepped toward first base.
He's got that move, maybe the best ever with it, with Steve Carlton right on the borderline of a balk, where you get a good long look at the runner before delivering to the plate.
Most runners will take off on your first movement, and if you can hang there long enough and they're trying to steal, you will be able to pick them off. It is more difficult with a guy that hangs unless you can really pick up his motion. If he takes that right leg behind the rubber, the right foot, he has to go to the plate.
Knobloch away from first as Jeter awaits the 1-1 pitch. McLemore can't handle it. Skips by him. Knobloch heading for third. Javier has no play. A walk and an error give the Yankees runners at the corners with nobody out, and sometimes that's the sort of thing you need to get going.
Well, we're just talking about how good their defense is in Seattle. Now, the problem here is not that he misses the ball, but he's trying to turn to make the double play. Watch, he's getting in position to turn right there, and he comes up too quickly. He's trying to turn so he can throw to second base right there. And he forgot to catch the baseball. You have to catch the ball first, and he did not do that. And now they have runners at first and third. Very unusual for this Seattle defense because McLemore has played excellent defense for the Mariners.
Halama from the stretch. Strike 1. Justice has had 6 career at-bats against Halama with 3 hits, 2 of them home runs. The Yankees did nothing with their opportunities last night. 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, including Justice flying out to the fence in center field with 2 on and 2 out in the 6th. Halama gets ahead of him 0-2.
Well, Halama has a good, sharp breaking curveball that he can use for his strikeouts against left-handed hitters. That was a pretty good curveball, but that wasn't his great one.
Halama's a big guy, 6'5", 200, but not a power pitcher. Fastball only in the mid-80s. He's a curveball changeup guy. Mariner infield looks for the double play. They'll concede the run here in the first. Inside, 1-2. Bernie Williams will be next. Knobloch away from third. Jeter a lead at first. And the 1-2 pitch to Justice. Off speed, he just hooks at it and fouls it off.
One of the things the Seattle people told me about Halama is that he can usually wiggle his way out of jams. He usually keeps the damage to a minimum. As you see, Justice takes the top hand off and just makes contact. That's all he wanted to do is spoil that pitch. But they say Halama can pitch out of these types of jams because he has a good presence out there on the mound. He has that great curveball to get the strikeouts when he needs it.
Another 1-2 pitch. Down and away.
That was a nice try there by Halama because what he's trying to do, we saw Justice reach all the way across. He wanted him to chase it just a little farther, but he can't get him to do so.
Here's the 2-2. Did he hold up? They check at third. He didn't go around. Full count.
Oh, that was a very tough pitch for Justice to lay off. And watch, he starts after, and that ball just keeps going away from him, and he's still able to hold up. You have to have really strong hands to do that. He was able to stop that bat after he had really committed to the pitch. But we'll see if they're going to put runners in motion. You expect them to be aggressive, but this might be a situation where you can run yourself out of the inning.
3-2 pitch with nobody out. Jeter away from first. And Halama chases him back. Block walked. Scooted to third when McLemore misplayed Jeter's grounder. Justice steps out. Jeter's not going. It's tipped foul as it holds 3-2. This has to be a tired Yankee ball club. Back-to-back cross-country flights for Game 5 in Oakland. Day game after a night game that ran till midnight. A squad of mostly veterans. They've got to be feeling it.
Well, I'm sure they are a little tired, especially when they got to the ballpark. But once you get here and you realize you're in a playoff game, I think the adrenaline will keep you up throughout the ball game.
Again, Jeter doesn't go. Justice rolls it foul. Lee Mazzilli is the Yankee coach at first. On the lines at third, Willie Randolph, whose name has come up in connection with several managerial openings. The Dodgers have been granted permission to talk to both Randolph and Yankee hitting coach Chris Chambliss, and you also hear Willie's name in connection with openings in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Larry Boa, who's the third base coach for the Mariners, also may get some consideration in Philly, along with Darren Dalton, John Vukovich, Bob Boone, all in the mix. Another 3-2 pitch. Walked in, bases loaded.
So this rally has been created by the Mariners, not by the Yankees. He walked Chuck Knobloch to lead off the ball game. An error on the second baseman, and now he walks Justice on a 3-2 slider.
That brings their pitching coach, Brian Price, to the mound. Bernie Williams to the plate. He has never had a hit against Halama. 0 for 9 in his career against the left-hander. Plate umpire Angel Hernandez started out to break it up, but Price turned to leave before he could get there. The word on Halama is that when he goes in a hurry.
Very quickly, you're right. When he gets in trouble, if he can't get out of the jams, but that's what he's good at, is getting out of these types of jams with the damage at a minimum. But once he loses his stuff, you have to get him out of there very quickly.
Well, if he loses his stuff now, he never had it, because we're only 4 batters in. Bernie Williams fouls it off. It'll make the seats down the right side. That's Williams' career with the bases loaded. If that isn't impressive enough, this year he was 9 for 13 with the sacks juiced, including 2 grand slams. Block at third, Jeter at second, Justice at first, nobody out. And the 0-1 pitch. Off-speed pitch hit in front of the plate. Wilson steps on home plate, fires to first for the double play. How about that?
That's the only way the Yankees were not going to score a run. Even if it's a ground ball and it turns into a double play, they would have at least scored a run. And watch this, right out in front of the plate. He hits it right off the end of the bat. Smart play there by Dan Wilson. He steps on home plate and fires to first base. That's an easy double play.
It didn't go very far at all, but it went a long way toward taking the Yankees out of a big inning.
Number 24, Tino Martinez. First base.
Now it's up to Tino Martinez.
And if you're the Yankees, you need to score a run here, because to let him off the hook like this without scoring a run, no bases loaded, no one out, you will really start to look at yourself and start to wonder. There's nothing worse than hitters questioning themselves in clutch situations.
That one's in there.
Tino 0 for 7 against Halama. The first 3 hitters, Justice, Jeter, and Knobloch, hit him well. The next 2 of Bernie Williams and Martinez have not had a hit.
2-1. Jeter at third, Justice at second, now with 2 out. Knobloch was forced at the plate, and Bernie Williams in the background thrown out at first on the double play. Hit toward McLemore. This one he's got cleanly, and Halama escapes. And the boos rain down at Yankee Stadium. No score after 1.
NBC's coverage of the American League Championship Series is brought to you by March 1st. Here's to being first. March 1st, a new world, a new way. www.march1st.com. By KFC, introducing the new Twister from KFC. How good is that? By Samsung, wireless, digital, Samsung, everyone's invited. And by Sun America, the retirement specialist.
Much of New York hoping for a Subway Series. Yankees down 0-1 in this series and blowing a chance to jump in front in Game 2. Mets open against the Cardinals tonight at Busch. Hampton against Kyle. Hernandez struck out the side in the top of the first. Ball one high and away to Edgar Martinez, who is the subject of the SAP player profile. Impressive career numbers. And a question mark when a guy like this concludes his career. He spent most of it as a DH. Is he a Hall of Famer?
I mean, that's a question that a lot of voters are going to have to answer. And they're going to have to answer it sooner than dealing with Edgar, because Edgar is still at the top of his game. He's going to have a few more good years. But there are going to be players who are primarily DHs, and you have to decipher whether you think they belong, in the Hall of Fame with the players who played the field.
The 2-1 pitch got the corner. Also, in an era where offense has absolutely exploded to the point of distortion, what does 30 homers mean anymore? What does 100 RBIs mean anymore? You're going to have a slew of guys with career totals approaching or better than those of certified Hall of Famers. They're going to have to build an annex onto the Hall of Fame to accommodate them all. Full count.
I've never been a fan of the DH, but it is a position. I mean, it's not Edgar Martinez's fault that that position is there. He's only playing the position that's there, and so you have to give him credit for doing his job.
Payoff pitch. He drops down, and Martinez fouls it back.
And I think that's the best spot to pitch Martinez if you're a right-handed pitcher. With 2 strikes, go up and in. That's the only weakness that he has ever shown. You can occasionally get him to chase an off-speed changeup, off-speed pitch away, but the fastball up and in is the only pitch that seems to bother him at all.
Missed inside, and Martinez starts the second with a walk. No one's put the ball in play yet against Hernandez. 3 strikeouts and a free pass.
Number 5, John Oliver. First pitch. Number 5.
Here's Olerud, who played on World Series champions with the Blue Jays in '92 and '93. Won the American League batting title, the second of those 2 years, by hitting .363. 285 this season. Only a couple of years back with the Mets in '98, he was up to .354. So he's had some big years. A ball and a strike.
If you look at John Olerud, he hits the ball all over. In fact, he hits more balls to left field, it appears, than any place else for his base hits. But he can pull the ball, and here in Yankee Stadium, that's a plus for a left-handed hitter.
Fouled off, 1-2.
One of the things that has always plagued over Olerud is the fact that he's not aggressive as a hitter. He will slap the ball the other way. He's not your typical first baseman who hits the ball out of the ballpark. He drives in runs, but he's not really aggressive at the plate.
He just serves that one into shallow center. Bernie Williams coming on, but it drops in front of him. Nice piece of hitting by Olerud.
That's a good pitch from Hernandez, but he spoils it because all he does is just flip it out there, and that's good. The ball's almost going to bounce, and you see he takes his top hand off and just serves it out there. And with 2 strikes, you want to put the ball in play, and that's what he does. And he finds a hole in left center field right in front of Bernie Williams.
I'm sure that Al Martin has seldom been called upon to bunt, but in this situation, Piniella may ask him to.
I don't think he'll bunt this early in the ball game because he's got a lot of left-handed hitters in there for that reason, just to go ahead and hit against El Duque.
Roches and Martinez are creeping in. No sign of the bunt as he takes ball 1. Still in on the grass. Martinez at second, Olerud at first. Neither one of them particularly fast. He's swinging and fouls it back to the screen.
Now Martin, who has been a pretty good hitter in the National League, really struggled in the American League. And a lot of that's due to the fact that the pitchers know him, but he doesn't know the pitchers. And it takes you a little while to adjust. And he hasn't bunted in 3 years, over 3 years. But that's because he was playing in Pittsburgh and San Diego, and he was a good hitter there. It doesn't mean he will not bunt here because he's in a different situation now. He's not as good a hitter in the American League as he has been in the National League.
But a home run threat here at Yankee Stadium. He lays off. It's 2-1. Another problem, if Lou Piniella was thinking about a bunt, is that Martinez is a slow runner at second base. And unless it's a perfect bunt, you got a pretty good chance to get the lead man.
But it also may take 2 singles to get him home as it is where he is now.
That would be the flip side of the coin. The 2-1 pitch. High fly ball, right center field. It's carrying pretty well. Williams back to the track, and he makes the catch. Both runners tag. Heads-up play by Olerud, who advances to second behind Martinez, who moves up to third.
And you described that perfectly. That ball just kept carrying. It appeared to me that it was going to be a fly ball into Bernie Williams. He gets it right on the good part of the bat. The sound was very good. It had a good sound to it, but it was too high. And you see Bernie Williams just keeps going, and he finally makes the catch. And Olerud sees that he's drifting on it and not going to be in position to throw to second base, so he goes back and tags up, and it's a good job because Olerud is not a fast runner either, but that's a smart play.
So it has the same effect as a sacrifice, though he hit it about 385 feet. Quick trip from Torrey. What was that about?
Well, I think he wants to decide how to go after David Bell because Dan Wilson has had a poor season. So he figures you try to get this guy out, but it's that old pitch him around him theory. Pitch tough, but don't give in. And then if you end up walking him, you still have a double play situation with Dan Wilson up.
The difference between an American League game and a National League game. If you pitch around David Bell, and then with 1 out, you can get the number 8 hitter. You got the pitcher waiting in a National League game. Here, there really isn't any breather. McLemore in the 9 spot is a dangerous man.
He's actually probably a little better hitter than Wilson, but that's why they put him there.
Strike 1.
Because in the 9th spot, he becomes a second leadoff hitter. And if he was hitting in the 8th spot, you would have Wilson behind him, and not a good combination.
Infield back. He'll give up the run on a ground ball. Sharply back to Hernandez. He pegs to second, and it's a double play. They often say of Hernandez that he's like a 5th infielder. Cat-like reflexes, terrific glove man, and just as Halama did in the bottom of the 1st, he gets out of a deep, deep jam in the 2nd. Aerial coverage, as always, provided courtesy of the Bud One Airship. Delivered fresh daily from a brewery near you, Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. A lot going on in the 1st inning and a half, but nothing on the board. As we look at left field, before every pitch in the top half of the 2nd, David Justice was shielding his eyes out there. It's just as difficult for Al Martin, more difficult now than it was when the game first began. In a couple more innings, much of the outfield will be covered, or almost all of it will be covered in shadows, but look at it now.
But it only affects you on high fly balls, not so much line drives, because it has to get above the roof of the stadium in order for the sun to have the effect on it.
Posada against Halama, and the ball 1 pitch. Fouled away. Posada had 28 home runs this year. But get this. In this postseason, the Yankees have 1 home run in 202 official at-bats. That's not even counting the plate appearances where there were walks or sacrifices. 202 at-bats, 1 home run. David Justice has it. Center field, Cameron. A fluid outfielder makes the play.
The Mariner people tell me that they were really surprised at how good a center fielder Cameron was and how much ground he actually covers. He doesn't have a great arm, but he is a very good outfielder.
As Paul O'Neill heads toward the plate, we head for Jimmy Roberts.
Well, you may wonder what's up with Paul O'Neill's offensive struggles. No one, perhaps, on the Yankees has struggled more than O'Neill. You see the graphic, what he did last night. Torrey thinks that perhaps he's pressing a little bit. Bad habits from a hip injury that he had. O'Neill says, nope, it's all mental. It's crazy in batting practice. He hits it just fine. None of it really matters. He says he knows it's likely to change in one single at-bat. Bob?
Thanks, Jimmy. Well, he's 4 for 6 lifetime against Halama. Hits this one sharply, but right at Olerud. O'Neill was asked after the game last night if he was upset with Joe Torre for pinch hitting for him, sending up Glenn Allen Hill late in the game. He said, no, I wasn't upset. I'm frustrated with myself for putting my manager in the position where he has to do that. And folks, you can go in depth on every game of baseball's postseason by logging on to MSNBCSports.com. View live the post-game press conferences and listen in after every game to audio interviews with key players from each team. MSNBCSports.com, the official website of NBC Sports.
And Bob, back to that point that O'Neill made, that's a professional attitude. That's the kind of attitude that this Yankee team has really had most of the last 3 years. The only sign of problem they've had like that has been with Chuck Knobloch. Knobloch would not take infield, when he was not playing. He said, for what? And then he basically, said he wouldn't be here if they took him off the ALCS roster. But everyone else has really handled the things that they've done, moving down in order, moving out of the lineup. They've all handled them very professionally.
Speaking of Knobloch, as of yesterday, just yesterday, he and Steinbrenner say they've patched things up. Roll it to short. Rodriguez takes Soho out, and Halama makes quick work of the Yankees in the second. No score after 2. Each team has had early chances. Neither has been able to break through. Wilson, McLemore, and back to the top for Cameron in the third. Wilson was thought to be a rising star, but he lost a lot of his playing time this year to the veteran Joe Oliver.
Well, his batting average and his production has been going down each year for the last 3 years, and then Joe Oliver just kind of took the job.
Threw it by him, 1-2.
They all feel that Oliver really calls pitches and handles the pitch calling much better than maybe Dan Wilson does, and that's not to say he's not good. It just means that that's Joe Oliver's strength.
Struck him out. The 4th K put in the book by El Duque.
Well, both teams have had scoring opportunities early, and neither were able to come up with it. This is more important to the Yankees as Bernie Williams grounded into a double play in a bases loaded situation. Line back, and El Duque finally finds Jeter at second base to double off Olerud. But I think this is more important to the Yankees because they have not been hitting in clutch situations. That's just another lost opportunity if you're the Seattle Mariners.
Switch hitter Mark McLemore takes an off-speed pitch for a strike.
But if you're the Yankees, again, you start to wonder, are we ever going to get out of this?
How about this? El Duque, 4 Ks.
And Bob, he wasn't given the name El Duque. He actually inherited it from his father. His father's name was Amaldo, and he was a snazzy dresser, wore a lot of jewelry and dressed fine, and they gave him the name El Duque. So actually, Orlando just inherited. He's the El Duque II.
Poke through the box, Jeter to his left. Gets it.
El Duque, the first senior, also pitched for the Cuban national team. He was a pretty good pitcher, they say. So, like father, like son. There's a breaking ball. That's the backdoor breaking ball that he throws to left-handed hitters. That's how he gets them out, keeping them off balance. And to be a good shortstop, you have to have good footwork. Right there, that's perfect footwork by Jeter. Look at the balance. He stays on balance, everything right, keeps his feet right underneath him. To be a good middle infielder, you have to be able to dance a little bit. You have to have a lot of rhythm. And these young players now, the great ones in this game, all have great rhythm.
Cameron bluffs a bunt and takes a ball.
And El Duque wants to know where that pitch was.
Speaking of Hernandez, Joe Torre says that he reminds him of Juan Marichal. High leg kick, wide repertoire of pitches, various arm angles. There's nobody around today who kicks quite as high as the Dominican dandy Juan Marichal, but as present-day pitchers go, Hernandez has a rather elaborate windup.
And this is not just for flash or show. He hides the baseball. It helps him to hide the ball from the hitter. That's what Juan Marichal did. You couldn't find the baseball in his motion.
It's one thing to be able to throw 6 or 7 different pitches. It's another thing to be able to throw them all for strikes in big situations, as Marichal could, and as Hernandez can when he's on. And the varying arm angles gives you 2 or 3 different pitches in effect with the same pitch.
Exactly. It changes the movement on each pitch depending on where he throws it. Usually the lower you drop your arm, the more movement there is on the pitch.
The 3-1. He misses, and that's the second walk he's given up. Hernandez never walked more than 3 in any start this year. Through 2 2/3, he's walked 2 and struck out 4 today.
This is a situation where I'm sure Lou Piniella will let Mike Cameron steal the base if he can get a good jump. Because this is when you want to find out if you can run on El Duque early in the ball game with 2 outs. You get yourself in the scoring position. And even if he doesn't make it, then you've got Javier leading off next inning.
Good move. Almost got him, but it got away from Martinez.
He definitely had him picked off. The throw beat him. That's actually a balk. And we go back, I'll show you why. He bends his left knee. There you see Cameron. It's going to be very close. But watch El Duque's left knee. If you bend your left knee, that's a movement toward the plate. And you can't bend your front knee and throw to first base. And he did that on that particular move. See, there it is again. You can't, if you bend the front knee, that's a movement toward the plate. Any breakdown of that front side is a movement toward the plate.
And as a former great base stealer yourself.
Watch right here. Watch his knee. Well, that one wasn't as obvious as the other one, but he did do it.
As a one-time great base stealer yourself, that's one of the keys you're looking for to tell you when you can go.
That is the key. Because you want to be able to move on his first movement to the plate. And if you take that front seat, the greatest I've ever seen is that with Don Drysdale. He'd give you that limp knee and fire to first base. He had it perfected. And that, I mean, it takes a lot of practice to be able to do that. But that's exactly what he did on that, the one he had him picked off on.
Cameron stole 24 out of 31 attempts. And he dives back.
None that were called anyway. No balks called on him this entire season.
There he goes. Throw from Posada is high, and he's in there.
Good job there by Cameron, not only to pick the proper pitch. El Duque came with a breaking ball, which takes a little longer to get to the plate, and he had a good jump as well. Nice move there by Cameron. I mean, he really pushed off well. Base stealer, you have to drive your body towards second base. A lot of guys just turn and run. He was actually driving towards second base.
So now an RBI opportunity for Javier, who struck out on the first. The 2-0 pitch. Lined into right center field, and Seattle's going to be on the board. Boa waves Cameron home. 1-0 Mariners.
And this is basically what they did with the Chicago White Sox. They had key base hits with 2 outs in clutch situations. Javier stays with his pitch. It's down. He just stays there and hits it in the right center field for a base hit. So the stolen base scores a run for the ball club. And there you see the bench. And the one thing that Lou Piniella says is that if they are able to be successful stealing bases early in the ball game, anytime they get on, they will try to run after that.
So now here's Rodriguez, still trying to solve El Duque. He struck out in the first. He's 1 for 12 lifetime against Hernandez with 8 strikeouts. 0-1.
And he made some perfect pitches on Rodriguez the first time up. He was using the fastball basically and moving it in and out. And he got him called out on a fastball right on the outside corner.
So the Mariners playing small ball, which has been one of their trademarks this year. 2-out walks, stolen base, RBI hit.
Teams that play small ball will invariably have a better record in one-run ball games over the course of the season than the big slugging teams like, say, the Oakland A's or teams that hit the long ball. You're used to playing for 1 run, so when you get in a tight ball game, you will automatically play that type of baseball.
Javier was barely off the bag and easily got back. Well, look at the Yankees of the last 2 years.
Right.
The world champions. In an era where 30 home runs had become commonplace, they never had a 30 home run hitter on either the 1998 or 99 world champions. They had some power, sure, but they could score in a variety of ways, including manufacturing runs. Rodriguez pops it up and tosses his bat aside in disgust. Brocious wants it, and Seattle settles for 1. The way the Yankees have been hitting or not hitting, 1 looks pretty big. Hernandez. Be my guest. Go ahead. All right. Alphonse. Thank you, Gaston. Hernandez is behind in either case, 1-0. The Yankees have managed to score in only 3 of their last 29 innings. They had the big inning, the 6-run first that saved the division series for them on Sunday night in Oakland. Apart from that, their bats have been silent. Brocious 0 for 3 last night. Runs up as if to bunt and takes a strike.
And Brocious has had some big postseasons for the Yankees in the past, but he is really struggling this year.
He had a career year in '98, 300 for the season and a huge postseason. His average has dipped beneath 250 each of the last 2 years. 230 this year with 16 home runs. Halama's 0-2 pitch. Change up, roll toward third. Here's David Bell on the run. Tough play. Safe.
Well, you can't make this play any better than David Bell, but it's just a tough play. He's back deep with 2 strikes, and he charges, and he makes a fine play. And Brocious is safe at first base. See how deep he is? That's the problem with 2 strikes. If he hits this ball with 1 strike, he would have been able to throw him out because he's playing much shallower. But because he's playing back so deep, there's no way he could get him. But it's a nice play. And I like the fact that he didn't try to barehand the ball and make that spectacular play. He said, if I get him, I get him. If I don't, I'm not going to throw the ball away. So a nice play there by Bell.
Now Knobloch, who walked in the first. Good move by Halama, and he got him. Of all the things to have happen, you're struggling, you get a scratch hit to start an inning, and you give it away immediately.
Well, there must have been a hit and run on. Let's see what Brocious is doing. There must have been something. Because, I mean, there's no reason for him to be that far off if you're not stealing a base or you're not going to run. And a good job by Halama. He just picks his leg straight up. He did not take it behind him, his right leg behind him, and he fired to first base, and he said,
we were talking about that move earlier. He kind of suspends that right leg, in his case the front leg, for a split second, leaving him the option to go either way and sort of leaving the runner in limbo. One and one.
Bob, let's take a look at this. He raises his leg and he suspends it. And Brocious is caught off.
Two balls and a strike. Jeter on deck. Nobody needs to tell Brocious that that shouldn't have happened. Three and one. Jeter next. Hit well to center field, but Cameron glides back and takes it. Almost dropped it. A juggling catch.
Well, it turns into a nice play, right? I mean, he gets back, he's waiting, and he hits off the tip of his glove. He's very lucky that he's able to catch that ball. Usually when the ball hits off your glove like that, it'll shoot back toward the fence. But watch, it drops right on his shoulder, and now he has quick reaction and is able to pick it off. And no, the sun wasn't in his eyes.
In fact,
it's almost gone now.
The entire outfield is now shaded. The sun, which could have posed such difficulty in the first few innings, now not a factor for the outfielders. Base hit for Jeter.
Jeter just waits on this curveball, and it's out away from him. He goes out and gets it, just lines it back to the middle. See, he keeps his head right on the ball. And there's the overhand curveball.
Jeter is an excellent percentage base stealer, 22 of 26 this year. Even though Justice has hit Halama well, this might be a situation, considering all the Yankees' hitting woes, where Torrey might let Jeter loose.
Well, normally you would, but you just had a guy picked off, and if you're Jeter, you're going to be careful at first base.
Not going on the first pitch, cut on and missed. Halama on the hill for Seattle was originally the property of the Astros, a 23rd round pick when he came out of Bishop Ford High School in Brooklyn back in '94. Then he was part of the Randy Johnson deal, came to Seattle with last night's starter and winner Freddie Garcia and Carlos Guillen for Johnson a couple of years ago. Tip foul, 0-2.
And I think this is a good job by Halama if he wants to hold Jeter. Don't throw over there. Jeter thinks he's going to throw. All he's done so far is just throw two pitches to Justice, and now he has him in the hole. And if you want to throw a fastball away or try to catch Jeter running, you can do that. Or he can just try to finish Justice off with this pitch. So the fact that he didn't throw over there is sometimes just as effective as if you do. Because the base runner's thinking he has to throw over. And if you never do, he's always alert and staying there for that reason.
From first, 0-2 the count to Justice. Halama works to the plate. It's down and away and blocked by Wilson.
There's one thing that happens when you pick a guy off. I mean, everything else just kind of falls into place. He's picked Brocious off, and Jeter's not going to take big chances and get far enough off that he can try to read him.
We may be at Yankee Stadium. In fact, I'm pretty certain we are. These are the two-time defending champions and 3 of 4. But the other factors that would indicate momentum all belong to Seattle. Struck him out. So Jeter is left stranded at first. We'll elaborate on that other point when we come back after these messages and a word from your local station.
Jim Gray back at Yankee Stadium. You see Mike Cameron out in center field had a little problem with the ball. Fortunately for him, he came up with it. Well, he came back into the dugout, and his teammates were giving him a hard time, Alex Rodriguez. But everybody's got to come through Ricky Henderson. Ricky's saying, I want an explanation. He's laughing at him, looked at his mitt, tried to patch up the mitt, acted like there was something wrong with that. Ricky's still getting an explanation as we speak right now, and they're working on the mitt. I think it satisfied him, however, as he's repairing his glove, and he'll go back to the field, Bob.
All right, Jim, thanks. That Mariner dugout has every reason to be loose as Martinez goes the opposite way and starts the 4th with a single. Coming up tomorrow night.
It's the premiere of must-see TV Thursday, starting with back-to-back Friends. Plus Will and Grace, Just Shoot Me, and ER. The premiere of must-see TV Thursday.
How's it been going for Seattle? They've won 17 of their last 22, playoffs and regular season combined, and 13 of their last 15 road games. A strike to Olerud. They've won 4 of the 5 games played here at Yankee Stadium this year. And New York, meanwhile, even with the division series win, which they eked out against Oakland, New York has lost 18 of its last 24. The next 3 are scheduled for Seattle, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 0-1 pitch, time was called.
Well, El Duque held the ball a long time, but it's very unusual to call timeout when he's about to start to the plate. See, he holds it for a long time, and once he starts, it's normally you do not grant timeout once he started his motion.
Olerud singled in the second. The 0-1 pitch to him. Down and in.
And one of the reasons you do not call timeout in that situation is because a pitcher can actually injure himself by trying to stop once he started his motion.
Here it is on 1-1. Hit hard but foul. Actually might have broken his bat.
And that's one of the pitches that El Duque has added. And that's a cut fastball. This is a cut fastball in here. And watch this, starting to come inside a little bit. And he's able to get in on the handle of John Olerud. Not a great choice of pitches in that situation because you have a runner at first base being held by the first baseman, and the second baseman is playing up the middle. You're giving him a lot of hole on the right side, and then you pitch him inside. Normally in this situation, you try to throw a sinker down and away so he'll pull a ground ball to second base or hit it to shortstop.
The slow-footed Martinez with a modest lead at first. And the 1-2 pitch. There's a double play ball. 4, 6, 3. Although Martinez had to tap dance a little bit to stay on the bag.
Well, that's the kind of pitch you want to throw to a left-handed hitter with a runner at first base. It's a sinker away. The balls are running away from him. And he turns, and it's a 4-6-3 double play.
Left fielder, Al Martin.
So now Al Martin bats with the bases empty and 2 down. He flied to deep center back in the second. Ball 1 high. Travel day tomorrow. Then from Safeco Field on Friday night, Game 3. Right-hander Aaron Seeley for Seattle with that great overhand curveball. He won 17 this year. Lefty Andy Pettit, 19-9, goes for New York. brilliant in Oakland in Game 2, then went again in Game 5, staked to a 6-0 lead, and lasted only 3 2/3, couldn't get the win. But Mike Stanton and Lee Nelson came out of the bullpen to hold the A's in check. Jeff Nelson. Mike Stanton and Jeff Nelson held them in check, and then Rivera finished it in the 8th and 9th. Martin grew impatient. Now he's back in. Off-speed breaking ball gets the corner, 2-2.
And that's what he's able to do very effectively against left-handed hitters. This ball is outside, and then it starts to break, and it just catches the outside corner.
Lined into right center. It drops for a base hit and may get in the gap. Martin around first. Williams knocks it down, but can't prevent him from going in with a stand-up double.
That's a good job of hitting there by Al Martin, because it was another good pitch from El Duque. That ball was diving down and away. Watch how he swings at it. It's going away. He just reaches out, extends, and kind of hooks it back in the right center field. And El Duque kind of pounds his glove. He said he didn't get it as far away as he wanted, but Martin hustles it into a double.
Which gives David Bell a chance to pad the lead. He lined into a double play his first time up. The Mariners had runners at second and third and one out in the second when Bell shot one back toward the mound, which Hernandez took, wheeled, and doubled Olerud off second base for the inning-ending DP. Now it's Martin at second with 2 down. Threw it by him upstairs, 0-2. Sizable pitch count for Hernandez, who has been known to throw games where Torrey lets him go to 125, 130 pitches. He's at 62 right now. In on his fist, hop toward first. Martinez into foul ground to end the Seattle fourth. And it remains a 1-0 game.
NBC's coverage of the American League Championship Series is brought to you by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. By Lexus and the all-new LS430. Imagine how you'll feel driving it. By Gatorade Thirst Quencher. When the moment comes, will you have what it takes to finish? Gatorade, is it in you? And by MySAP.com, the best-run e-businesses run by SAP.com.
Flying over the Bronx is the Bud One airship. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Well, John Halama, who won both of his starts against the Yankees this year during the regular season, has them shut down through 3. Ernie Williams, Tino Martinez, Jorge Posada in the 4th. Bouncing ball toward McLemore. He knocks it down, recovers, and throws him out.
Nice play there by McLemore as he goes up the middle to get this. Backhands, but it hits off the heel of his glove. He stays with it. And a quick throw to first base retires Bernie Williams. See, that play, the ball shot up at him a little bit, and he hit him off the heel. Didn't quite get his glove up to get it in the pocket, but he stayed with it.
Martinez grounded to second in his only at-bat. Ball one high. These Yankees find themselves in a curious situation. They could very well regroup, win this series, get to the World Series again. They could, who knows, wind up 3-time champions and 4 times in 5 years. But by the same token, they almost certainly must make significant changes in the offseason. Not just the in-season moves they made in terms of reserve strength this year. But will Paul O'Neill be in right field? Will Tino Martinez be at first base? Will Chuck Knobloch be part of the mix? These guys have long been part of the nucleus of a championship team. Popped up back of third. Bell and Rodriguez for a look, but it's in the seats.
And one thing for sure, Bob, they have been able to make it look so easy the last couple of years. But that doesn't mean that they can't win or that they won't win this year, as you stated. But it will be a lot more difficult for them to win this year. And I think that's why Joe Torre really appreciated beating Oakland. You know, you talk about guys may not be here. You don't know what's going to happen with David Cone. But Joe Torre talked about, that's why he was so emotional in Oakland, because it's harder now. Every step that they go is a lot harder than it was in the past.
Martinez whacks one into center for a base hit.
Tino hits this ball right off the end of the bat. It's a curveball going away. And look at that, right off the end of the bat. The ball went out there like a little swivel. What are those balls? Those little fluff balls.
A Nerf ball?
Yeah, the Nerf ball.
It helps when you have kids. Switch hitter Posada flied to center his first time up. Paul O'Neill on deck. Hop down the right field line. It stays in fair territory. Javier makes the catch. And folks, another reminder, Aaron Spelling, as you know, has created hit after hit. Tonight, his newest, the sizzling new Wednesday series Titans. Tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on NBC. The sparks are almost flying from the screen just looking at the promo. Paul O'Neill, who played for Lou Piniella in Cincinnati, their relationship was not the warmest.
Well, they're both fiery types of individuals.
O'Neill has been a tremendous player in New York. This was his 4th straight year, reaching 100 RBIs. But he has struggled mightily of late.
And in talking to Lou Piniella, he said he used to put a lot of pressure on his players and himself. He said he's more relaxed now, and he understands what his role is. You very rarely see him have a tantrum as he had in the past. Coaches say he vents his anger on them and not his players.
Off-speed pitch, he takes it the other way. Martin started in, now goes back and takes it. Another scoreless inning for the Yankees. 13 of them in this series, and they trail it 1-0. Yankee Stadium, which has been home to 25 world champions. There will not be a 26th this year. If something doesn't shake in that bat rack sometime soon. Hernandez has been effective, but he's gotten no backing, just as Nagel did last night.
And when I talked to Joe Torre today, one of the things he said is there's a thin line between the pitchers pitching better and getting the hitters out and the hitters not swinging a bat. It's a very thin line because I think it's a combination of both. I thought last night Garcia was the reason that they did not swing the bats well in their bullpen. Today, I think Halama is not overpowering them. He's given them pitches to hit, and they're just not handling them well.
Something I've noticed, too, the Yankees are among the most patient of teams, constantly working counts, 2-0, 3-1, getting pitches they can sit on. As this slump deepens, they seem to be becoming more impatient at the plate.
I agree with you there, but I think it started in the Oakland series with the Oakland pitchers throwing first pitch strikes. One of the things the Oakland pitchers did very well was they threw a lot of first pitch strikes. And as the slump is built, the guys have decided, I'm not going to hit from behind in the count anymore. And therefore, they're going, as you mentioned, swinging at first pitches and getting themselves out. But I really think it started because Oakland, those young pitchers, were not intimidated here, and they threw strikes. No one likes to hit 0-1, 0-2.
3-2 to Wilson. Hernandez has struck out 4. He's walked 2. And Wilson hangs in. Lou Piniella says, quite honestly, that while he'd like to be back in Seattle, all things being equal, he just doesn't know. Like a free agent player, he'll weigh his options. In the air to right center field, Ernie Williams got a good break on it. O'Neill is also back there, and O'Neill will make the catch on the track.
The ball is carrying very well in that slot right there, right center field, because it didn't appear that he hit this ball that well. It was more of a high fly ball, and I think once the high fly balls are getting some help from the wind in that area, Paul O'Neill takes the pressure off of Bernie Williams.
So now here's McLemore, the number 9 hitter. Leadoff man Mike Cameron on deck. There's a strike. McLemore spent the past several years with the Texas Rangers. The Yankees knocked him out of the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. He drills this one toward the gap in right center field, and it's off the 385 sign on the fly. A 1-out double for McLemore, looking to reverse his postseason fortunes against New York.
C.L. Duque is shaking his head because he did not get this pitch where he wanted. It starts inside, but it moves right to the middle of the plate. And he hits it off the right center field wall at the 385 sign. You cannot center the ball against good hitters. You get the ball in the center of the plate, and they're going to hammer it.
Here's Cameron, struck out and walked. Following his walk in the 3rd, he stole a base and came home on Javier's single for the game's only run.
See where it's open?
McLemore in scoring position with 1 down in the 5th. Fouled off. Cameron hit .267 for the year with 19 home runs, succeeding Ken Griffey Jr. in center field for Seattle. Nobody replaces Jr. But Cameron did a good job.
Especially defensively. He did an excellent job defensively, and he also added some speed to their lineup.
Pickoff play, diving back is McLemore.
And that's not so much to pick him off, but to let him know that they're aware that he's there so that he will not try to get a good jump and steal third base. It's a timing play. What happens is the second baseman, Soho, will kind of drop his glove, and that means it's time for you to turn and throw.
In there, 1-2. As you take a look around this diamond, some of the names: Brocious, Soho, Martinez at first, O'Neill in right, Justice in left. Good players all, but they've all got some miles on them, and you have to believe this is a tired team with the travels of the division series, coast to coast twice. One of those trips back and forth in the space of 24 hours. Hernandez wheels but doesn't throw, which takes nothing away from the performance of the Oakland A's, who came close, of the Seattle Mariners, who have the lead here both in the series and in Game 2. But this is not the Yankee team of the past few years. The 1-2 delivery misses the corner.
But actually, it wasn't the Yankee team for the last 18 or 20 games of the regular season either.
Right.
And no one can come up with a reason, because let's face it, if they knew the reason, they would have corrected it before the playoffs started. And Joe's explanation is he just felt like they played tight. They couldn't relax. Even, during the regular season, after they clinched the division, they could not relax.
Cut on and missed, strike 3, the 5th for Hernandez. Second time he's gotten Cameron.
Well, we talked about the fact that he's using his fastball a lot more, and I think that's great. Here's another high fastball. He just throws it by him over the outside part of the plate. In the back of the right-handed hitter's mind is always the fact that he might throw a slider. So if you throw the good fastball, it gets on them quicker because they're waiting to see if it's going to break, and then it's too late. He's asking the hitting instructor, Gerald Perry, if that pitch was too high. And he shook his head like, no, it would look like a good pitch. It wasn't too high. You could have hit it.
There's Perry seated there, a distinguished figure with the gray beard. Javier swings on the first one. Fly ball to left. Justice takes it. McLemore's double goes to waste to the bottom of the 5th. Still 1-0 Mariners. Not only have the Yankees not touched the plate so far in this series, they have scored in only 3 of their last 31 innings dating back to the division series against Oakland.
And they have not had one big inning in this entire series, and especially in the Oakland A's series, they only had one big inning in the 5th game, where they scored 6 runs in the 1st inning. So it's not even just a matter of scoring, but they're not putting any crooked numbers on the board.
They take a single straight one long about now.
You're right.
Soho, Brocious, Knobloch do in the last half of the 5th. John Halama was a 14-game winner this year. His ERA was 5.08, but in this era, while that's not glittering, it's not as bloated as it would be 5-6 years ago. Anything in the vicinity of 4, 4.2, or 3 is considered pretty good for a starting pitcher these days. Halama was a shade over 5. Is 1-1 to Soho. To give you an idea about that, Pedro Martinez is on his own planet. His ERA was 1.74, but the second best ERA of any American League starter was Roger Clemens, almost 2 runs behind Pedro at 3.70. That was second best. Big cut and a miss.
And a changeup from Halama on a 2-1 pitch. Halama tops out at about 85 miles an hour, but here's a changeup. And you can see the ball move away from Soho, and he's way out in front.
Change up, and he got him. Only his second strikeout as Soho is retired to start the Yankee 5th.
We talked about Halama having a great curveball. Well, he finishes him with a great curveball. Fastball away, change up away. Change up down. He's just throwing a lot of off-speed pitches way out in front. And there's that big bending curveball, and that's a beauty. And anytime you have the hitters going back asking questions, you're doing your job. Soho was going back asking, was that pitch high enough? Was that pitch outside? I mean, he's asking questions. That means you have the hitter confused. If he has to ask his teammates where the pitches were.
Halama not only is able to get that curveball over, but he changes speeds on the curveball very effectively. That one is off Halama. 2 McLemore. Does he have time? Yes, he does. 1-4-3.
And that's a very good point you made, Bob, about him changing speeds. Very few pitchers do that. They have one speed for their curveball. We'll take another look here. This ball is hit back through the middle. I think it got him on his leg, or he stuck his foot out. And then the play was made by McLemore.
And Halama is shaken up a little bit here.
And the ball hits him on his leg. He sticks his foot out, and it hits him on his, looked like it hit him on his left shin. And there you see he's hobbling just a little bit.
He's going to stay in.
Watch his left shin there. Looks like it hits him, bounces up and hits him on his left foot or his left shoe. And there's McLemore right behind the bag to make the play.
Halama has been influenced by the veteran teammate Jamie Moyer, who's out of this playoff series and the World Series if they get that far with an injury. Moyer's a finesse guy, left-hander like Halama. There he is. Never had an overpowering fastball, changes speed, good breaking stuff, and Halama has listened and learned in the company of Moyer.
Well, they're very similar, except Halama has a great curveball. Moyer does not have a great curveball like Halama does, but other than that, they change speeds about the same, and they throw about the same. Both are about 85 miles an hour fastball.
Fouled off by Knobloch, 1-1. Here's a scary thought for the Yanks. Not hitting, and that's an understatement. They go from Yankee Stadium next to Safeco, which is a pitcher's park, and they haven't seen Seattle's true ace yet. He comes up next in Game 3, Aaron Seeley.
The problem is that we're sitting here, talking about how poor the Yankees are, but they're only behind 1-0. But it just doesn't appear to you that they're going to be able to score. Unless someone maybe hits the ball out of the ballpark and jump starts this offense, you're not sure if they're going to be able to score. And this is the 5th inning with 2 outs. They have about 3 more outs to go against Halama. And then they're going to be looking at the Seattle bullpen from the 7th inning on. And that's a little different story.
A bullpen that's unscored upon in this postseason. Hit hard, left center, base hit. Does it get between them? Knobloch on his way to second with a 2-out double.
He gets this pitch up. It's a change-up away, and Knobloch hits it in the left center field. And he's at second base in scoring position. But we're back to the same situation. Someone has to pick these hitters up. These runners up once they get into scoring position. Nice play there by Al Martin, but he can't hold Knobloch to a single. Knobloch was at third base in the first inning. He didn't score. Now he's at second base with 2 outs. He was at third in the first inning with no one out.
Ernie Williams hit into a double play on that occasion, and Martinez grounded out to end the threat. Now Jeter. A base hit would tie it. In all likelihood, he hit .339 for the year. He's reached on an error and singled today. Finally, some noise in the Bronx. Ball 1 high and away. The Yankees are 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position in the first 2 games of this series. Halama's 1-0 pitch. Misses. Justice on deck.
Well, Jeter has not had a lot of opportunities to drive in runs, so it hasn't probably affected him as much mentally as it would some of the other hitters like Justice Williams and Martinez because they've had situations where they could drive in runs and didn't produce. So, and he's a good hitter. I mean, the guy's going to put the ball in play, and he finds a lot of holes.
The 2-0. He lays off 3 balls, no strikes. Now, do you give Jeter a green light here?
Well, if you're Joe Torre, I think you do. Let's take a look at this. Oh, it looked like he held up. You may get a good pitch to hit here, so you go ahead and let him swing. I think you're only down 1 run. It's not like you need base runners. You need someone to drive a runner in.
Way outside, and now it'll be up to Justice.
I don't think he just went wild all of a sudden. He was trying to make certain pitches there to Jeter, and he wasn't able to make them, and then he fell behind, and he said, I'm not going to give in. Because you do have a left-handed hitter coming up, David Justice. He has been able to handle Justice when he threw strikes in this ball game.
Brian Price to the phone as Piniella paces the dugout. That's Rob Ramsey, a left-hander added to the staff after Moyer was injured pitching in a simulated game and had to be deactivated. Justice has walked and struck out.
And all it'll take is 1 base hit at the right time for the Yankees to get started.
As we mentioned earlier, coming into this game, Justice had 6 career at-bats against Halama. 3 base hits, 2 of them for the distance. The 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss.
That is a good pitch. A left-hander, he throws it a little bit out of his 3/4 motion and is just diving down and away. This is a tough pitch. Watch where this pitch ends up. Down and away. That's tough for a left-hander to handle. Justice way out in front and pulling off of it a little bit.
Halama has him in an 0-2 hole. 2 on, 2 out, 1-0 Seattle, last of the 5th. Roll to second. McLemore from the edge of the outfield grass. And the Yankees lead 2. 5 complete. 1-0 Seattle. Just past 6 o'clock on the East Coast. And the Mariners take a 1-0 lead to the 6th.
Well, these are great pitches made by Halama in a tough situation. But watch, the ball goes farther and farther away and down. Watch this last pitch. There's nothing Justice could do with this except go to left field, and he tries to pull it and hits a ground ball to second base. That's a really tough pitch.
Rodriguez, first pitch swinging, finally manages a hit off El Duque.
Well, El Duque had been throwing him a lot of high fastballs and getting him out. So he went up there sitting on the fastball. He gets it, and he drives it into center field. There's a high fastball. That's the way he's been pitching him the entire ball game. Only this one was out over the plate. He went out and drove it into center field for a base hit.
Prior to that at-bat, he'd been 1 for 13 lifetime against Hernandez with 8 strikeouts.
Now, this is a situation where you can do something because Edgar Martinez uses the whole field. And the fact that Alex Rodriguez runs well, you may want to try hit and run if you get in the right situation. Because Edgar can hit the hole on the right side anytime he wants.
He's walked and, in fact, singled to right his second time up.
We'll see if El Duque pitches him inside to keep him from going that way.
Of course, if Martinez hits it at all sharply on the ground, he's an easy guy to double up. Rodriguez bluffs the go and pulls up short. Strike one call.
And this is just a fake. That's all it is. He wasn't going. He was just trying to get the infielder's attention, which he did. He made Jerry Jeter move at shortstop. And what that did, it was telling Edgar Martinez who's going to cover in case he does run on a hit and run.
Rodriguez didn't really have to dive back in. He made it easily. Orlando Hernandez pitching on his birthday. Pitching well, but trailing 1-0. 0-2.
He dropped down a little bit more on that one. That was a slow sidearm slider. He drops way down and throws a little sidearm slider that gets the outside corner perfectly.
Hernandez shakes off the first from Posada and then tosses to first to chase Rodriguez back. With Posada catching, there is no language barrier. Hernandez's command of English is gradually improving. Martinez checks it 1-2. Baseball's increasing Latin flavor. Very much in evidence here. Hernandez shaking off Posada, pitching to Martinez. Tino Martinez holding Rodriguez down at first. Angel Hernandez says that's ball 2.
Now, if you're going to run him, this is the time to do it because El Duque wants to make something happen on this pitch. He doesn't want to go to 3-2 because then you're automatically going to run the base runner at first base. So this is another good time to go 2-2. If he wants to do that, he wants to put a runner in motion.
And it's popped back. Posada off with the mask. Has a play.
And that's a good pitch there by Hernandez. He had just thrown him 2 sliders away, and he comes inside with a fastball. He didn't want to go 3-2, so what does he do? He comes back inside with a fastball. Slider over the outside corner, a slider just off the plate. Slider just off the plate. Now you've got him leaning, so you come back inside under the hand, and he can't get to it. So that's good pitching there by El Duque.
Now will face Olerud, who singled and grounded into a double play. Still concerned about Rodriguez. Hernandez has that very elaborate windup when nobody's on base, but out of the stretch it becomes much more compact.
But he will use the slide step every once in a while. He just hurries to the plate.
There goes Rodriguez. Slow roller. It'll move the runner up. Soho throws Olerud out.
That was interesting there. He took off and Soho moved toward second base a little bit. And it was clear that Derek Jeter was going to cover. There goes Jeter, and Soho takes the play and throws to first base. But he actually started. Now watch Soho. He'll start towards second base. And then he goes back the other way. He was going to help to back up, I guess, in case the throw got through. but you're not supposed to give up your position if you're not covering.
Billy Connors, the acting pitching coach. They're hopeful that Mel Stottlemyre will be able to return. Still undergoing treatments for bone marrow cancer. There's a chance, though, he could be back on the bench before the postseason is over. As it is, he's watching the games, every pitch, obviously, on television, and he's in contact with Connors and Torrey. Well, we have a chance coming soon to NBC.
Michael Richards is back on NBC as a private eye, along with Tim Meadows.
The adventure begins.
The Michael Richards Show premieres NBC Tuesday in 2 weeks.
So Rodriguez in scoring position. Martin the hitter. He's flied to deep center and doubled. And it looks like they're going to put him on.
Yeah, they've decided that since Martin hit the ball so sharply last time, they're going to go ahead and put him on base and pitch to David Bell, the right-handed hitter. And we've mentioned that El Duque far more effective against right-handed hitters than he is left-handed hitters.
Meanwhile, Raul Ibanez pops out of the dugout. Looks like he'll hit for Bell.
I think this is a good move by Lou Piniella because you're putting an extra runner on base. Now you take your shot if you're Lou Piniella. You need another run. But I guess he's not going to do it. I think he's just bluffing. Yes, I think he's just bluffing. And the one thing I think he is concerned with is losing Bell's defense at third base. So he decides, well, he was trying to bluff Joe into thinking that, well, I'm going to use Ibanez in this situation to pinch hit. But once Joe had made up his mind, he was going to go all the way with it anyway.
Look at Torrey talking to Zimmer. You can almost read his mind as if he's saying, did he think I was going to fall for that?
But I don't think it would have been a bad move to try to get another run in this situation.
Swing and a miss by Bell, who's lined into a double play and fouled out.
Bell has not had good swings against Hernandez, but most right-handers do not have good swings. So that's why I say I don't think it would have been a bad move, but I'm sure he did not want to take his glove out of the lineup.
Strike, 0-2.
But it's very difficult for you, meaning being a manager, Lou Piniella, to think that you can shut the Yankees out 2 days in a row. Another good fastball right on the outside corner.
The 0-2 pitch. Bell lays on.
Bob, you said Joe was saying to himself, I'm not going to fall for that, but I guarantee you he was relieved to see David Bell come out of the dugout and hit instead of Ibanez.
Quick conference between Posada and Hernandez. Trying to avoid being tagged with his first career postseason loss on his birthday, be it his 31st or 35th, or anywhere in between. He struck out 5. Almost had a 6th, but it missed. 2-2.
Well, his fastball has been his most effective pitch against the right-handers today because he has them looking for that slider, and he throws a lot of fastballs. He's been able to get the outside corner or jam these right-handed hitters.
2 on, 2 out, and the 2-2 pitch. left into shallow right. O'Neill wants it and takes it. The Mariners strand 2 and take their 1-0 lead to the bottom of the 6th. Here's the March 1st game summary. Here we have a game in which 1 run has been scored. There have been 10 hits. We've played 5.5 innings. And the game is now 2 hours and 2 minutes old. Bob Wolf, the esteemed veteran sportscaster who still works in the New York area, stopped by the booth before the game. It's his call that you hear on Don Larson's perfect game. Paniagua, who was effective last night, is up in the bullpen right now for Seattle. He called Larson's perfect game, October 8, 1956. That game took 2 hours and 6 minutes. In just about that amount of time, we've reached the bottom of the 6th in a 1-0 game here. That's modern baseball.
Well, you being from St. Louis, I'm sure you saw some 159s, 150s from Bob Gibson when he pitched.
Ernie Williams fouls it away as Halama goes back to work in the 6th.
There's Lou Piniella looking over the lineup sheet, trying to figure out exactly how he wants to match his bullpen against the hitters for the Yankees. He told me before the ball game, he said, if I can get 6 out of Halama and he keeps us in the game, I'll be very pleased. So he's 3 outs away from that.
Halama working to Williams, who's 0 for 2, and Bernie steps out. Williams was 1 for 4 last night with a couple of strikeouts. As Halama works here in the 6th, it's probably worth noting that he threw only 1 complete game this year, plus he had a 9-inning no decision in a game that went extra innings. At third base, Bell, very sure-handed across the diamond to retire Williams.
One of the reasons he did not want to pinch hit for Bell. He knows that he makes all the plays and he makes them under pressure.
Looking over Halama's starts this year, since a 9-inning outing against the Red Sox that ended up for him in a no decision on the 1st of August, he's gone 6 1/3, 6 innings, 4 1/3, 6 2/3, 6 innings, 3 1/3, 4 1/3, 5-5-5. So pretty much, if he can get you to the middle of the game, Piniella is satisfied. Even as he has pitched well, he has seldom been around in the late innings. Martinez wraps one into right center field, and it drops. And again, the Yankees have the tying run aboard.
Well, Martinez has really been swinging the bat well the last 3 or 4 ball games. He stays right on this fastball. It's a fastball in, and he stays right there and rips it into right center field for a base hit. We saw him get a base hit on a great pitch last night from Sasaki to keep that rally going in the 9th inning. So he's staying right there, swinging the bat well now.
Posada has flied to center and then to right. Maybe it's just as well for Halama that he wasn't really a big baseball fan growing up, but he didn't really care about the Yankees. The mystique of Yankee Stadium may be lost on him. Floats that one in for a strike.
Well, he actually says he's not a big baseball fan.
He says he never reads the box scores, doesn't watch the highlight shows on ESPN. Baseball fever, he hasn't caught it.
Yet here he stands on the mound at Yankee Stadium with a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning. that he does with that nice move to first base is that he takes the element of the hit and run right out of the mix right here. Normally, you might see Joe try to do something to jumpstart this offense, but not with a guy with a move like Halama.
Martinez aboard with his second single of the game. Scampers back. Paul O'Neill is on deck. We're in the sixth. 1-6-1 for Seattle. 0-5-0 for New York. Topped in front of the plate. Wilson's got it. Takes to first. That takes care of Posada. And Martinez moves up into scoring position.
Don't worry about my side.
Well, you figure eventually the Yankees are going to get a base hit with a runner at second base because you keep giving them this opportunity. You see that ball's grounded right out in front of the plate, and the only play for Wilson is to go to first base. Right on top of the ball. It actually hits in foul territory and goes forward into fair territory. But eventually someone's going to get a base hit. And if you're Joe Torre, you say, this is the time. This is Paul O'Neill's chance. He's going to do it.
He's grounded to first, line to left. And the seat's foul.
One thing about Halama, he has pitched to justice now in this situation than O'Neill. He makes great pitches with runners in scoring position. That was another slider down and away. Not a lot that O'Neill could do with it. When you're a hitter and you face a pitcher like this, in situations you say, well, he's going to make a mistake eventually. And you want him to leave something in the middle of the plate. You want him to center the ball for you. But he has not made any mistakes so far.
His 0-1 pitch. Inside and low.
This pitch is just to keep him honest, keep him from going out there on the low and away slider that he threw him in place before. It actually looked like he swung at it, but they didn't check. They didn't feel he did.
And the 1-1. Way outside, even though there are 2 outs. And Martinez is getting a good lead from second, and he'll be off with a crack of the bat. He's a relatively slow runner. What about the outfield arms? Martin in left, Cameron in center, Javier in right for Seattle.
Well, the fact is they're playing deep enough that he will not have a problem to score. There are not any great arms out there. Martin has a pretty good arm, not a great arm, but I don't think that will be a factor with 2 outs because they're playing pretty deep in the outfield.
Luis Sojo is on deck. And Halama's 2-1 pitch. Misses.
Well, one way or the other, this will probably be his last batter.
Sojo, a right-handed hitter. The lefty Halama could give way to Paniagua if he doesn't get O'Neill here. And his 3-1 pitch is in there. O'Neill thought it was ball 4.
Well, the one thing he's been able to do is keep the ball down. He's been able to throw sliders down the way. Here's another breaking ball. The ball wasn't as bad as it appeared because Wilson caught it. You see, he catches it funny, and it's not where he catches, it's where he crosses the plate. And when it crossed the plate, it was right around the knees.
Yankee bench thought they had the potential go-ahead run on base. Instead, here comes the 3-2 pitch to O'Neill with Martinez at second and 2 down. Rolled toward the hole. Olerud ranges to his right. Halama covers. Close play. Got him. And O'Neill and the first base coach, Lee Mazzilli, are all over Wally Bell. Now Torrey comes out. They're not going to win the argument, and since the Yankees scored 6 runs in the first inning of Game 5 at Oakland, they have now scored exactly 1 run in their last 23 turns at bat.
But a lot of this is frustration because they're not able to get the runner home. Let's take a look here. Very close. It looked like it. Well, remember now, we're taking this in super slow motion.
Man, that's close. Back after these messages and a word from your local station, not the words O'Neill is speaking. Well, Joe, we've now looked at the replay during the commercial about a half dozen times from several different angles, and it was very close, but it does appear that O'Neill was out.
Well, it's just so close, and you're right. The umpire doesn't have the benefit of looking at this, 6 or 7 angles. And we found the one angle that, in my opinion, proves that, it's so close, but it appears that he is out.
So Bell got it right.
Yeah, well, it appears that way. Now watch his right heel. See, don't watch his toe. His heel right there hits the bag a split second before O'Neill. See that? His heel hit the bag. If you go by the toe, it appears that they both hit the bag at the same time. But it appears on the replay that his right heel, watch the heel again. See, his heel hits the bag before his toe hits the bag. But again, it's close play. It's just awfully close.
And with the Yankees struggling for anything offensively, the frustration builds and builds when something like that goes against you.
Exactly. And I look, I understand why Paul O'Neill was upset. Because, he probably feels that he hit the bag at the same time. And you know what? Maybe he did. It's just that close.
Roll to third. Brocious throws Wilson out. Dan Wilson now in his career in the playoffs in 95 and 97 and this year for the Mariners is 2 for 36 as a hitter. Now here's McLemore, who grounded to short and whacked a double off the wall in right center in the 5th. Hernandez working into the 7th and trailing 1-0. The Mariners got their run in the 3rd. He's now thrown exactly 100 pitches. High pitch counts are the norm for El Duque. Sky to left and pretty deep, racing over is Justice near the fence. He's got it.
Nice play by Justice. They play him a little bit to left field. And because it is short down the left field line, anything hit toward that corner always has a chance of getting up on the wall or getting out of the ballpark.
Two quick outs in the 7th, and here's Cameron, who struck out twice and walked. Shortening up as if to bunt and taking a strike. Hernandez threw 130 pitches last Friday night here at Yankee Stadium in his division series win against Oakland. In 29 starts this year, he had 3 complete games, but that's a bit misleading. A lot of games he could have finished. They just gave the ball to Mariano Rivera because why wouldn't you in the 9th inning? Jose Paniagua, meanwhile, continues to throw in the Seattle bullpen. And the best guess is that he comes on when the Yankees come up in the 7th. 1-2 to Cameron. Count evens at 2-2.
It is so difficult to win a game 1-0. Not 2-0 or 3-0 or 4-0, but 1-0 is very difficult.
In the air to center, Ernie Williams scarcely has to move. A 1-2-3, Seattle 7th. Hernandez has given his team a chance. Now can they do anything at all? Stretch time in the Bronx.
NBC's coverage of the American League Championship Series is brought to you by IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, tap the Rockies. By the Insider Pizza, new from Pizza Hut, another one of the best pizzas under one roof. And by Chevrolet. If only everything was as dependable as a Chevy, Chevy will be there.
If the Yankees don't rally here, there's a pretty good chance this is the last baseball game played under autumn skies in New York for this season. Down 0-2, they'd head to Seattle for 3. They face Jose Paniagua now as they come up in the 7th. Unless, of course, the Mets advance. I guess there would be October baseball in Queens, but not in the Bronx.
But being from St. Louis, I can understand how that was an oversight from you.
You have to cover all the bases just to cut down on those cards and letters and emails and faxes. Soho pops it wide of first. It's in the seats. Tonight on Fox, Joe Buck and Tim McCarver have the call from Busch Stadium. It's Hampton for the Mets. It's Darryl Kyle for the Cardinals in Game 1 of the NLCS. And we're back, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, from Safeco with Game 3 on Friday. Pettit against Sealy. After going back and forth from Australia, flight cross-country to Seattle is going to seem like the shuttle. I've got interplanetary jet lag. The 0-1 to Soho. A ball and a strike. Against Halama, Soho was 0 for 2, grounded out, struck out. In this postseason, Seattle's bullpen has worked 14 innings without giving up a run. Paniagua has been an effective part of it. Hit hard. Bell smothers it. Throws from his knees. Got him.
So he's worth the, see, that's worth the run that they didn't try to get. And he knows that he saves run. That's a great play right there. And he threw it from his knees. Right down the line. A lot of area over there to cover. Normally you may play a little closer to the bag this late in the ball game. But you see a nice stop. Now he doesn't even get up. He fires from a knee. And he throws a strike to first base. We talked about his defense, but I mean, this is special right here.
The former Indian and Cardinal David Bell robbing Soho of a possible extra base hit. Now strike 1 to Brocious.
One of the reasons you do not play as close to the line or guard against an extra base hit is because Paniagua throws so hard you figure the right-hander's not going to pull it right down the line. But Soho did.
Paniagua's 0-1 pitch. A ball and a strike. Jose Paniagua is 27 years old. He's been in the majors for 5 years. This is his first taste of the postseason. He's 6'2", 185, and from the Dominican Republic.
Well, he has a good fastball, but Brocious is a good fastball hitter, so you have to try to stay away from him.
Arthur Rhodes, who got in last night, getting ready here in Game 2. 4 Mariner pitchers combined on the 6-hit, 13 strikeout shutout with Freddie Garcia, the starter and winner. The 2-1 pitch. 3 balls and a strike to Brocious with Knobloch on deck. Full count.
Very surprised Brocious took that. He's a good fastball hitter, and he had a 3-1 fastball coming.
And he has enough power to have hit 16 home runs this year. Line drive, base hit. Cameron over to get it. Brocious rounds first and holds there with a 1-out single.
And he stayed right there, got his fastball, and lined it into left center field for a base hit. And they're going to pitch run for Brocious. A low fastball, and he stays right there. That ball is centered. It gets in the middle of the plate, and he lines it into left center field.
New York's 6th hit, matching Seattle's total. And now Jose Vizcaino, who also got into the game last night as a pinch runner, replaces Brocious at first base. For Brocious. He's had a tough series so far. Here's Knobloch. Walk, flied out, double. Ball 1-2. Paniagua has faced 2 hitters. Both hit the ball sharply. Soho robbed of a hit on a diving backhand play by Bell, and then Brocious whistling a single into center. The 1-0 to Knobloch is in there.
This is a good fastball, good sinking fastball from Paniagua. Now watch the movement right there. If Chuck swings at that ball, he would have hit a ground ball, and that's exactly what Paniagua wants him to do right here.
You saw Rhodes again a moment ago in the Seattle bullpen. Next hitter is Jeter, a right-handed hitter, but then Justice, a left-handed batter, and they could go to Rhodes when they get around to Justice if the inning is extended that far. Eyeing Vizcaino. And now working to Knobloch. Pitch out. Nothing on.
Well, he was leaning. He may have noticed that they went quicker. The pitcher didn't take his normal step, and that allowed Vizcaino maybe to know that he wasn't going. It was a pitch out. When a pitcher rushes like that, he doesn't give the pitch out a chance to work.
Put something on. This is a good count to do it. On 2-1, Vizcaino bluffs the go. Knobloch pops it up into shallow right. McLemore out from second base has it.
It's a tough pitch. It's a fastball running in on Knobloch. You look at that up and in, and he gets jammed. And he's a little late on it. You see him trying to fight it off. And he pops it up to second base.
Has to deal with Jeter, who's reached base one way or another all 3 times. On McLemore's error in the first, on a single in the third, on a walk in the fifth. Vizcaino again bluffs the go, and Jeter fouls it back. The way the Yankees are hitting or not hitting, would it be the worst thing in the world to allow Vizcaino to try the steal to get into scoring position? If he's thrown out, you got Jeter to lead off the 8th.
Jeter's a very important hitter here because if Paniagua can get him out, then they're set up with Arthur Rose to face 2 out of the 3 left-handers the next inning.
He is going. Here comes the throw from Wilson. It skips away from McLemore. Vizcaino pops up and continues to third. The pitch was strike 2, so now Jeter will hit out of an 0-2 hole. But the tying run is at third.
And it's a good pitch to throw on, and the throw is in the dirt. It was going to be a close play if he makes a good throw, but Vizcaino had a pretty good jump. He goes around to third base, and one more time they're going to have a runner in scoring position to tie this ball game. Most of the time when a catcher comes out of there and rushes, as Wilson did, you're going to get the short hop. You're not going to get it there in the air.
Score it as a stolen base and an error on the catcher. With the count 0-2, obviously they'll continue to work to Jeter, but Piniella just wanted to make sure that Paniagua was squared away about how they wanted to work to him.
You can afford to take a couple of shots at trying to get Jeter to go out of the strike zone. Whether you want to do that, he doesn't throw a lot of breaking balls, so you might want to try to throw a high fastball or a fastball away off the plate. You need to take a couple of shots at getting him out of the zone.
Inside for ball 1.
And that's a good way to do it. Now you try one even the way, just to see if he'll chase a pitch away. It's a good pitch. It starts toward the inside corner and moves off the plate inside. Good pitch. Good 0-2 pitch anyway.
Vizcaino, the pinch runner with the potential tying run at third base. And the 1-2 pitch struck him out. Jeter, who fanned 3 times last night, goes down on strikes and leaves the tying run at third. Here's the Morgan Stanley Dean Witter well-connected play of the game. Actually, it's 2 plays. In the third inning, Mike Cameron walked with 2 out. He stole second and then rode home on this RBI hit by Stan Javier. Inserted into the lineup today to get another left-handed bat in against Del Duque. Javier actually a switch hitter, batting left-handed against the right-hander, and he'll lead it off here in the 8th. Hernandez stays in, trying to keep the Yankees close at 1-0. Tino Martinez will take it himself on the first pitch. Javier is gone. A couple of changes for the Yankees. Luis Sojo moves from second base to third, and Jose Vizcaino, who ran for Scott Brocious, remains in the game and plays second. Rodriguez, who had a homer last night, has a single and 3 at-bats in game 2. Hop over beyond the Yankee dugout and in the seats. moon like that over New York. Jackie Gleason's face ought to be on it.
Hernandez has thrown Rodriguez mostly fastballs. He got him out the first couple of times out with fastballs, and then Rodriguez had a base hit. Starts him off with a fastball this at bat. There's a slide piece.
In the Yankee bullpen, the two veterans, Stanton the lefty, Jeff Nelson the righty. Obviously, the Yankees have played more playoff and World Series games than any team in baseball history, by far. They have never been shut out in back-to-back postseason games in their entire history. And the last time they were shut out twice in the same series was by the Milwaukee Braves' Lou Burdett in the 1957 World Series. Even in '63, when Koufax and Drysdale and Padres did such a great job against them, only one of those 4 games was a shutout. The 1-2 pitch to Rodriguez. Struck him out.
There's a high fastball again. He has had a lot of success with Rodriguez on using the high fastball. And you see the target from Posada. He wants it up, and he gets it up there.
6th strikeout for El Duque. And a 1-for-4 game 2 for Rodriguez to this point.
The Mariners have not had as many scoring opportunities, and they only have 6 base hits themselves. So the frustration of the Yankees is only emphasized because Stan Javier had a base hit to drive in the go-ahead run.
Everything looks different when you win.
Correct.
On the other hand, Game 3, the clincher in the sweep over the White Sox was a low-scoring game. They won last night 2-0. They're leading here 1-0 in the 8th. If you looked at it through a different prism, you could say that the Mariners are slumping.
Yeah, it's true. But their pitchers are not slumping.
They're certainly not tearing the cover off the ball.
But pitching is what got them to the playoffs, and it's what's carrying them so far. Freddie Garcia, last night's winner.
And the 1-2 pitch. Called strike 3. If that's it for El Duque, he finishes strong with his 6th and 7th strikeouts of the game. And this live view is courtesy of the Bud One airship, seen by millions on its ongoing goodwill tour. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. And that's what it's been for the Yankees. 1 big 0, represented by that full moon over the Bronx. Arthur Rhodes out of the bullpen. A bullpen that has been impeccable in this postseason so far for Lou Piniella's Mariners.
And Bob, when he came in last night to pitch to Glenn Allen Hill, he was throwing very hard to get a look at this bullpen. No earned runs in the 15 innings and only 6 base hits. And most of that work was done against a good hitting Chicago White Sox team. There's Sasaki. He's getting loose for the 9th inning if Arthur Rhodes can hold him here in the 8th.
Between Cleveland and New York, Justice had 41 home runs this year. Ball 1 from Rhodes. He has the only Yankee home run of this postseason. They're going on 230 postseason at-bats with 1 round tripper. In the air to left. Martin toward the line. into the corner. Foul territory. Leaping attempt, but he can't get it.
That was a great effort there by Martin. He had it timed perfectly, but he just could not reach far enough into the stand. But he times his leap. And just can't get far enough in. That's why they've had those walls out there, so that the outfielders can feel free to run into them or climb them.
Justice will be followed by Williams and Martinez. The 1-1 pitch. And it'll be strike 2, much to Justice's dismay.
And it was called by home plate umpire Angel Hernandez. He did not ask for help. Why? Well, he takes off his right leg, and then he points toward Justice. And it appears there that he should have asked for help. And that's the easy way out. Just ask for help.
Both David and the crowd felt there was no justice at all in that call. He's behind in the count, 1-2. Leading it off in the Yankee 8th. Down and away. Posada with a bat in the Yankee dugout. Somebody's got to reach for him to bat in this 8th inning. Justice is 0 for 2 with a walk in game 2. A drive to deep center field. Cameron on the run to the track. It's off the top of the wall. Barely missed getting out of here. Justice in with a double.
Justice has been trying to pull the ball all day, and he wasn't having any success. This fastball, he goes the other way with it. I mean, he drills it to left center field, and it appears that it might have a chance to get out of here. Watch Cameron stop. He knows he can't catch it, and it hits off the top of the wall, and Justice goes into second with a leadoff double.
Still got his 1-0 lead by about a foot. A little more loft, and this game is tied. As it is, the tying runners at second with nobody out. Ball 1 to Williams, who's 0 for 3, including hitting into a double play with the bases loaded and nobody out in the 1st inning.
And the question is, if you're Joe Torre, you already have alerted your players to how you want to play in these situations. Do you want Bernie Williams to take a shot toward right field to move Justice over, or do you want him to drive him in? A lot of managers have different theories on this. Some managers believe if I'm hitting the guy fourth, he's supposed to drive him in. I'm not supposed to take the bat out of his hand and have him taking a shot to right field. Other managers feel like if you haven't scored, the easiest way to score is hit a ground ball here and a fly ball or another ground ball. So it's just a matter of philosophy.
Williams steps out. Williams, of course, is a switch hitter. Next batter, Martinez, a lefty. Then Posada, a switch hitter, and another left-handed hitter, O'Neill. Sasaki is already up and throwing in the bullpen. And Piniella has been known to use him in the 8th inning. He won't save him necessarily for the 9th, especially with tomorrow being an off day.
But I wonder if he would go get him this early because he did have a tough 9th inning last night. And Arthur Rhodes is throwing well.
Here's the double play that Bernie Williams hit into in the 1st inning. He topped the ball in front of the plate, and all Wilson had to do was pick it up, step on the plate, and then peg it to first to complete the DP. And it took the Yankees, in effect, out of what could have been a big inning. This would not be it. All bets are off. Trust me. You hit into a double play. Here's the 1-1. Inside. The 30-year-old former Oriole, 5-8 this year. His first year in Seattle. Misses with that one. 3-1.
Now that the count is 3-1, I doubt that Joe would even want him to take a shot to right field. He wants him to drive him in.
Full count.
And he wasn't taking a shot to right field. He was just late on the fastball. A good fastball up and in from Arthur Rhodes, and he's just late on it. That's his full swing right there, but he was late.
That fastball bearing in on him was clocked at 94 from Arthur Rhodes. Justice, who doubled at second with nobody out. 1-0 Seattle, last of the 8th. Mariano Rivera gets up. And Williams fouls it off. Jose Mesa joins Sasaki. Mesa was the closer until Sasaki arrived. There was a time in the mid-90s when Mesa was the American League's best closer with the Indians. Another 3-2 pitch coming from Rhodes to Williams.
Man, that was a nice pitch there. Curveball 3-2. Williams hung right there and fouled it off. He had thrown him like 8 consecutive fastballs, and then he comes with a 3-2 curveball, and it's a pretty good one, too. And Williams is able to get a piece of it and foul it off. It's one of the advantages of being a switch hitter. The breaking ball is always coming towards you.
Williams hit .307 for the year with career highs of 30 homers and 121 RBIs. Has not done that much in the playoffs. Ricky Henderson, relegated to spectators so far today, can barely bring himself to watch, apparently. Another 3-2 pitch. Line through the middle, base hit. Justice hesitated. Randolph waves him home. They won't have a play. The Yankees finally score, and they tie it.
This is a great at-bat by Bernie Williams. He's fought off a lot of pitches. Then he gets one pretty much in the middle of the plate, belt tie that he can handle, and he hits it into right center field. And you have to give Willie Randolph a lot of credit because Justice did not break right away. You see he has to hesitate. Now Cameron comes up with the ball, but Randolph sends him all the way, and I think Seattle was smart to throw into second base and not take a shot at Justice at the plate. So good heads-up play there by Willie Randolph.
Now Tino Martinez, who's 2 for 3, a pair of singles. High and away, ball 1.
It is just hard, as I said, to beat someone 1-0. If you have an extra run, if it's 2-0, you have margins for errors. You can pitch people differently. But 1-0 is very tough.
And Orlando Hernandez will not experience his first postseason defeat. Drops the breaking ball in there for a strike.
Question is he going back out there or not? Although Rivera was warming up, obviously he won't go if the Yankees are able to go ahead.
High ball 2. Well, if the Yankees take the lead, it's a no-brainer. Rivera comes in to try and finish it. If it remains tied, what does Torrey do? Hernandez nearly jubilant. Delayed call, ball 3.
See if this pitch crosses the plate. Wilson caught it poorly, like going down, which sometimes influences the umpire, but it's called ball 3.
Rhodes and Piniella might have felt that they were squeezed on that one. Now the count is full as Martinez fouls it off. Full count, nobody out, tie game, bottom of the 8th. Do you run Williams from first?
Well, that's the decision, that Joes have to make, in the fact that does Arthur Rhodes have a good move? No. But do you want to put the guy in motion on a line drive? He double off. I think you should, but
let's see what Torrey thinks. Williams is chased back.
when a team is struggling to score runs or to get base hits, sometimes the manager can help them by putting runners in motion and opening up a hole someplace.
He goes, and the ball is lined to left. Martin closes ground on it and drops it. Williams stops at second. The play was there to be made, and Martin couldn't.
It looked like he was going to get there in time to catch it, and then he made a dive. He is going, and Martinez tries to go the other way, hits a line drive, but Martin comes in and he can make it. That ball hits right off his thumb. The ball, I didn't think he needed a dive, but he felt like he did. See, the ball's in the air, and he dives for it, and it hits off the thumb of his glove.
It's scored as an error, leaving runners at first and second with nobody out. It's the pitching coach rather than Piniella who goes to the mound. And now they've reversed the decision and scored it as a hit. That scored a base hit.
There goes Vernon. That ball's hit on the line, so he has to wait. And he figures he's going to go back to first base. Barton drops the ball, so now he goes ahead and goes into second base. I guess the scorekeeper is saying he played it into a hit when he made the dive. But the ball should have been caught.
So the ruling gives Martinez a 3-for-4 game.
But see, he's there in time. Now all of a sudden he decides to dive for it.
Well, now do you sacrifice with Posada?
I would, yes, but I think you need to, try to score a run here. This is a big chance. And the last thing you want to do is risk a double play. A ground ball double play.
Bell inching in from third. Rhodes wheeling around and looking Williams back to second.
And Posada gave no indication that he was going to bunt.
The last time he sacrificed successfully more than 3 years ago.
And part of the reason for that is because he is a switch hitter, so he's always going to have the matchup in his favor.
No bunt. Ball 1.
He definitely didn't indicate it when they whirled to throw to second base.
Good evening, Dan Billow live at the Kennedy Space Center. The Yankees have finally scored a run, and NASA is finally getting ready to launch the 100th shuttle mission. 36 seconds away, countdown about to be handed off to the orbiter's internal computers. We will show you the baseball game and the launch as they happen. There you have it. Go for auto sequence start. 30 seconds away from launch. 7 people risking their lives to go to the International Space Station.
20 seconds.
T-minus 15 seconds. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. We have a go from any start. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery, making shuttle history and building our future in space.
Houston now controlling.
You have to throw a strike. So
Roger, roll, Discovery.
Give your best fastball and go after it.
Discovery's roll maneuver is complete. The orbiter is now on
Neal awaits his turn.
course for a 51.6 degree, 200 statute.
Posada fouls it back.
And a rendezvous with the International Space Station Friday afternoon.
Lou Piniella seemed on the verge of taking a 2-0 lead back to Seattle.
3 engines aboard
One
Discovery
Yankee
now
base hit
throttling
away
down as
from
the
having to
orbiter
face
prepares to
Mariano
pass through the
Rivera
area
in
of
the
maximum
ninth.
dynamic pressure on the
Staring at
vehicle
the
and
prospect of a
atmosphere.
tied series heading back to the Great Northwest. The 2-1 to Posada. 3 balls and a strike.
The one thing Rhodes has done, he has kept the ball down, except for the pitch to Bernie Williams, but he's missed low with several fastballs in this inning.
Toward the hole, McLemore manages to knock it down, but it rolls away, and Williams speeds home. The Yankees take a 2-1 lead. McLemore very nearly kept it on the infield. He got a good piece of it, but it rolled far enough away to allow Williams to score, and Martinez to wind up at third.
This ball is hit sharply to the right side. It looked like McLemore got a good jump on it. He dove, and I don't know how it got through him. He looked like he was trying to smother it, which was the right move, but he could not smother it.
All 3 main engines still performing well at 104%.
Dan Billow again at the Kennedy Space Center. As you see, we're 2 minutes into the launch. Booster rocket separation has gone well. A beautiful shot from our sky cam of Discovery rising into the sunlight after launching in the twilight. Wow, look at that. They're on their way. They've still got 6 minutes to burn the rest of the fuel in their tank. It's a critical time. We'll be monitoring it here and letting you know, of course, tonight how it all goes. If anything goes wrong, we'll be right back with you. But for now, the 100th launch of the Space Shuttle is up and away.
In his last 13 games, 7 regular seasons, 6 postseason. He drove in an even 100 for the year. Down and away, 1-1. Well, this bottom of the 8th is shaping up as quite a birthday present for El Duque. He went into it losing 1-0. He's now in front 2-1. The Yankees threatening for more, and Mariano Rivera waiting to bring the hammer down, which could leave Hernandez 7-0 lifetime in the playoffs and World Series. And more important, leave this series even heading to Seattle. In the air to left center. Martin will make the catch. Martinez will tag. He'll head for home. The throw comes into the middle of the diamond, and it's 3-1 New York. this point, O'Neill will take the RBI any way he can get it.
Well, you have to give O'Neill credit. He chased the breaking ball on the first pitch. Then he fought off the fastball inside and got enough of it. This is a fastball in. He gets enough of it to get a sacrifice fly.
Rhodes is gone, and it's 3-1 New York. The Mariner bullpen, unscored upon in the playoffs, finally hit a bump in the Rhodes in the 8th. Arthur Rhodes came in. Justice doubled. Williams singled him home. Martinez's liner was misplayed into a single and left by Al Martin. Posada followed with a hit. O'Neill with a sacrifice fly. That finished Rhodes and brings in Jose Mesa. Few players would have suffered more through a drought like that than Paul O'Neill, one of the most intense players in the major leagues. So hard on himself. In this case, gave the Yankees and Mariano Rivera a little bit of breathing room. A 3-1 lead at least when we get around to the ninth.
And Mesa throws hard as all the bullpen relievers do out of the Seattle bullpen.
The 1995 Fireman of the Year for a tremendous Cleveland team. He had 46 saves. No longer the closer in Seattle. He had just 1 save this year.
Good fastball, good splitter.
Called strike 1-1 as we check in with Jimmy Roberts.
Paul O'Neill apparently feels that this may have been the hit, or at least the contact that may have lifted him out of the slump. Asked if he thought that would do it for him. He said that the way these guys are throwing tonight, he'll take it.
All right, Jimmy, the 1-1 pitch to Soho. Little tapper, it's foul.
It was a good job by the umpire. Did you see him? He jumped off to the side to see where the ball was rather than call it from behind home plate. Watch him. He'll move around to this side so that he gets a clear angle at where the ball is. It's a good job. And you see him point foul.
Posada at first. 3 runs home in the 8th. Still only 1 out. And a 1-2 pitch coming from Mesa to Soho. Down and away. For all the saves Mesa has recorded, the one that will always haunt him is the one that got away. Game 7 in 1997. World Series in Florida. 2-1 lead to the bottom of the 9th. He couldn't hold it. They tied it and eventually won it off Charles Nagy in the 11th on a hit by Edgar Renteria. Foul to the seats by Soho. So the World Championship that the great fans in Cleveland have been waiting for since 1948 still hasn't come true.
And he actually struggled for a couple of years after that. That's something that you probably never will get over. If you make a mistake in the World Series or you're not able to close the game out, it haunts you forever.
His 2-2 pitch is lined down the right field line, foul.
Joe Torre said with Luis Soho, you never know what you're going to get. He's just a hacker. He swings. You throw a ball almost on the ground, he might hit it. And look at it, he just kind of slashes at this ball. Has a very unorthodox stance and stride, but he just kind of slashes at the baseball. But he does a good job. He puts it in play, and he finds some holes.
Bailing out all the time. Head seemingly jerking off the ball. With his stride completed half the time, he seems to be swinging flat-footed. But he comes up with some big hits. There goes Posada on the 2-2 pitch, and it's up the middle. Posada to third. And the Yankees make more noise in the 8th. The dam finally burst. And the Yankees pour it on.
Well, you see the runner take off. Now, McLemore doesn't cover. Alex Rodriguez is covering, but he still finds a hole on the right side. And the reason they did that because Soho was hitting everything to right field. So you want the shortstop to cover, but he drills it hard enough to get it through the right side anyway. And there's a sign from Lou Piniella. He wants him to play halfway.
And now an at-bat for Jose Vizcaino. He started the year with the Dodgers. Hit .251. Bluffs a bunt. Posada coming down the line. They've got him.
Well, that was a safety squeeze.
Yeah, it must have been.
That was a safety squeeze. It wasn't, a suicide squeeze. So Posada was just supposed to come down far enough that if he bunted it, he could score. Nice play by Wilson and David Bell. You see Bell stay on the inside, gives Wilson a target. The ball's way inside. Again, it's a safety squeeze. If it was a full squeeze, everybody would have been going. Soho would have been going from first base as well. So that tells you it was a safety squeeze.
So this is Posada's fault, not Vizcaino's.
Correct. He was the one that broke without... On a safety squeeze, you just come down the line like a normal pitch. And once he gets it on the ground, you decide whether you can make it or not. If you bunt it directly back to the pitcher, you do not go. So it puts a lot of pressure on the base runner to make the right decision.
And on the safety squeeze, the batter has the option of bunting it or not. And Vizcaino had a pitch down and in that he couldn't handle. He laid off, and Posada was too far down the line.
Correct. And the reason I know he didn't miss a sign is because Soho didn't break from first base.
In the air to left center field. Here's Cameron chasing after it. Look at this. Vizcaino splits the gap. Racing home is Soho. Vizcaino with a double. The throw to the plate is late. Scarcely hit a ball with authority at all. And all of a sudden, everybody, including Vizcaino, is just whacking the ball all over the lot.
These are the crooked numbers the Yankees have been looking for. And that ball is hit hard in the gap. And by the time they get it back in, Soho has come around to score. You see Soho coming around. He does everything. When he's running, he looks like all hands are flailing, legs flailing, but he's a player.
4-1 New York, and Knobloch takes a strike. After looking so feeble, the Yankees now have 12 base hits in their last 26 official at-bats in this game. 4 runs on 12 hits. They've doubled Seattle's hit total. If you're Joe Torre, you're probably more cautious about things than a fan would be, and you're not sure that the Yankees are completely out of their slump. Basically, they've had 2 big innings at either end of 3 games. 6 in the first at Oakland, 4 in the 8th here.
And in this case, they had a little help defensively from the Mariners.
A swing and a miss, and the ball gets away from Wilson. Vizcaino to third, wide turn, and that's as far as he's going to go. This inning has a little bit of everything, not much of it good for Seattle.
This pitch gets away from Wilson. It's a splitter, and he gets crossed up. He reaches to try to backhand it instead of catching it with an open glove with the palms facing the pitcher. The ball had a lot of movement on it. And it's scored as a pass ball.
2-2. This is a much larger margin of error than Mariano Rivera generally requires. Rhodes and Mesa knocked around in the New York 8th. And that one's back through the middle. McLemore can't get it. An RBI hit for Knobloch. 5-1 New York.
A high fastball from Mesa. I think he was afraid to throw the splitter because he had thrown one and it got away from Dan Wilson, so he throws him a fastball, hits it back through the middle. It wouldn't have mattered if McLemore would have caught it. He wasn't going to be able to throw Knobloch out at first base.
Jeter is the 9th man to bat in the New York 8th. Skies one to deep right. Javier back, looking up, gone! Hits through 7. No runs in 16 innings in the series. 7 runs on 8 hits in this inning. Go figure.
Again, it's the high fastball he gets hurt on. Jeter's late on it, but he gets enough of it, and his right field wall is only 314. So this is really a fly ball in place like Seattle, but we're not playing in Seattle. So he hits it well enough to get it out of the ballpark.
Justice started all this with a double to left center that barely missed getting out. Good fastball from Mesa, but it's much too late. 0-2. The Yankees have virtually assured Orlando Hernandez of his 7th postseason victory. The only downside, and it really doesn't matter, is that they poured it on to such an extent here in the 8th that it's no longer a save situation for Rivera. Maybe they don't even want to use him with this big of a lead. There he is sitting down.
With Tony Cloninger, the bullpen coach, and Tony, great pitcher.
Back, still 0-2.
When you're a team like the Yankees, you just need one thing to get you started, and I think Bernie Williams getting the 2-out hit finally. I mean, not the 2-out hit, but the RBI finally with a runner at second base just kind of jump-started this offense. And then you had a couple of plays by the Mariners that they didn't make. But the Yankees keep coming at you, and you have to keep making plays. And if you make any mistakes, they usually force you to pay for them.
And the 1-2 pitch is spoiled by Justice. Who was it who once said, baseball is a funny game? Joe Garagiola wrote a book with that title.
I read that book.
It was a good book, and it is a funny game. Justice hangs in. Now the focus will shift to Seattle in Game 3. Right-hander Aaron Seeley, who won 17, against left-hander Andy Pettit, who won 19 this year for New York. Another 1-2 pitch. Another foul ball. Yankee hitters actually haven't recorded an out in this inning. An official plate appearance that would go as an out. Sacrifice fly by O'Neill. And Posada caught off third base when the safety squeeze was blown. Obviously, the sac fly is an out for O'Neill, but it doesn't count as an at-bat. You get the RBI plate appearance, but not an official at-bat. And the 2-2 pitch from Mesa. A high drive to center. It'll stay in the park. Cameron will put a merciful end to it from Seattle's perspective. Well, Joe, you said the Yankees need to put some crooked numbers on the board. They throw up a Mickey Mantle in the 8th and lead it 7-1.
NBC's coverage of the American League Championship Series is brought to you by NBCI.com, one site with everything you need. By the men and women of General Motors, whose commitment to quality brings you outstanding cars and trucks. By Nextel, how business gets done. Call 1-800-NEXTEL-9. And by American Airlines, giving you more room throughout coach.
$55,000 plus at Yankee Stadium, pretty much stone silent through 8 innings or so, and then erupting as their team did in the bottom of the 8th when they put 7 on the board. They will use Rivera, and that makes sense. Tomorrow's an off day. He can work an inning here. Well, he has to be available on Friday.
Yeah, but he hasn't pitched this Sunday. I think that's the reason, more than the fact that tomorrow's an off day. You have to get him some work and keep him working. And he pitched in Sunday's ball game in Oakland, and he has not pitched since that time. So he's had Monday and Tuesday off.
Olerud, Martin, and Bell in the 9th. And he pours the first one in there. Slice down the left field line. It drops for a hit. Olerud heads towards second. A fan reached out and touched it, and he has the double.
Left fielder, Halama.
Well, it's a cut fastball. It hits him on the fist, but Olerud's one guy that can fight that pitch off to left field because he stays pretty level on the pitch inside. He's not trying to pull it. And the fan makes a nice catch, even though he leans over onto the field.
Now Martin's 1 for 2 with an intentional walk. He had a double back in the 4th. His misplay of Tino Martinez's line drive in the bottom of the 8th, though, was a key to the Yankees' big inning. It was scored a hit, but he should have caught it. Slender Panamanian, 6'2", 170. in his 6th Major League season at age 30. A little topper up the first baseline, foul. Rivera is still among the game's best. He wasn't quite so untouchable this year, though, as he has been in the past few seasons. He went 7-4. His ERA was 2.85. Look what he's done in the postseason. His lifetime ERA in October is 0.35, which is the best ever. Apples and oranges, to compare a reliever perhaps to starters like Koufax and Gibson. But nonetheless, you need 30 innings to qualify for the distinction. He has more than that, and his ERA is microscopic. This year he saved, during the regular season, 36 of a possible 41. So he blew 5 saves, which gave the opposition a ray of hope. Broken bat roller. Martinez has it. Rivera covers.
And Bob, this is interesting because he has 30 2/3 innings of consecutive scoreless innings. And the record, I guess, is Whitey Ford, 33 consecutive scoreless innings in the postseason. Though Whitey's was done in the World Series.
Right, all in the World
Series.
Series.
It's still called the postseason. We don't agree, but it's still, that's what they call it. They say postseason. So now they have a runner at third, and if Bell puts it in play, they will probably score a run and break that streak.
Strike one. Well, until they start calling the World Series the baseball finals, I still say it's the World Series. And I still say it stands for something different.
And I agree with you 100%. And the main reason I agree with you, Bob, is because you're facing the World Series, you're facing some team from the other league that you haven't played against all year, and you may not know exactly how to pitch to them or how to hit them. In the ALDS and the ALCS, you're facing players that you faced the entire season. So those records should be kept separate.
The 0-2 pitch. Fouled off. Dan Wilson is the next scheduled hitter. Raul Ibanez is in the on-deck circle to bat for him. The Mariners took a 1-0 lead in the series and a 1-0 lead in the game to the bottom of the 8th, and the Yankees erupted for 7. Bell's bat is shattered. Rivera picks it up. Olerud stays put at third, and maybe the scoreless streak will be maintained.
And Bob, if you're the Seattle Mariners, you have to regroup and think to yourself, as we see this fastball that shatters Bell's bat, you have to say to yourself, when we came here, we thought we might get a split and go home. I mean, but after you win the first game, of course, you get greedy and you want to win too. But you have to go back to your first thought and say, hey, we came into Yankee Stadium, we were able to split, and now we go home for 3 games.
Mariano Rivera breaks about as many bats as any pitcher in the major leagues. And he really got in on David Bell that time. Here's Ibanez, a .229 hitter for the year, and the last hope for Seattle. Will anyone second-guess Piniella for pulling Halama after 6 shutout innings?
I don't think so, because Halama, that's been his method of operation. He has taken him out after 6 innings. Halama has not pitched a complete game, and how long are you going to go with him? He had his bullpen set up the way that he wanted, and that's what he wants to do for the entire series, make this a 6-inning ball game for the Yankees. And so he can bring in Rhodes, he can bring in Sasaki and Paniagua.
A bouncing ball to second. Vizcaíno ends it. A happy birthday for El Duque, Orlando Hernandez. He's the winner. No save for Rivera. And most importantly, Torres Yankees pull even with Piniella's Mariners. And just finishing up the point about Piniella, Paniagua worked the 7th and got them through it with the 1-0 lead intact. It was in the 8th when Rhodes blew up. The Chevy player of the game is Orlando Hernandez. struck out 7 and walked 3, allowing 6 hits in 8 innings of work. When he left, he trailed 1-0. But then his team scored 7 and made him the winner. Here's Jim Gray.
All right, thank you, Bob. Lou, it seemed to have gotten away from you there with the big 7-run 8th inning. What exactly happened in your estimation?
Well, we didn't make very good pitches, and they swung the bats. But, you know, we accomplished what we wanted here. We won, we split with them in New York, and now we go to our home ballpark. It's a shame because we had 7 really good innings of pitch baseball, and the 8th exploded on us.
You feel like you wasted one by Halama, a good performance, and are you sorry you pulled him?
No, not at all. Our plans were all along to pitch him 6 innings and go to our bullpen. He gave us exactly what we wanted. We just didn't hold on to the ball game. But I'll tell you, we're going to have to find a way to score more runs. We've only scored 2 and 1, and we're fortunate that we pitched so well yesterday for the entire 9 innings.
We talked about how the momentum can quickly change in a series like this. You know you wanted to split. Is there any sour taste at all after what just happened, though?
No, not really. We played a good ball game. It's just that, you know, you put up 1 run. It's hard to shut people out 2 days in a row, I can tell you that. But we'll come back at them on Friday.
Now you got Seeley coming up against Pettit. Seemingly the place you want to be. Aaron Seeley won 17 games, Pettit won 19. And got it set up the way you want it now?
Well, it's a good matchup. Good pitcher on their side, good pitcher on our side, and we got to come out and swing the bats off Pettit, and we got to get a good game from Seeley. But we feel good about coming in here and going home tied in the series, and let's see how we play at home now.
All right, Lou, we appreciate you coming over. Thank you for your time. All right, let's send it over to the Victoria side with Jimmy Roberts and the Yankees.
All right, Jim,
we've got a very veteran, experienced team, and nobody's really putting pressure on themselves. Just the weirdest things have happened. Bernie hitting a foot grounder in the first inning, and they getting a double play out of it. But, you know, if you're going to have an outburst, there wasn't better a time there in the bottom of the 8th.
It seemed that when the hard throwers came in, that's when the offense seemed to turn around, which would seem to work against conventional wisdom, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that's just a coincidence because it really was in their favor with Halama being a finesse guy. When Paniagua came in and those guys came in, they're throwing extremely hard, and it's even harder after you've seen Halama for 6 or 7 innings. So the advantage was in their favor, and it just happened to work out for us tonight.
How does this change the complexion of this series? Instead of going there 0-2, now you apparently get well again, and you've got the man who appears to be your best pitcher down the stretch pitching for you, Andy Pettit, in Game 3.
Yeah, definitely. Down 2-0 going into Seattle would have been devastating, and right now we're riding a high with the way we scored the runs in the 8th inning, and it'll be a great plane trip, and hopefully a good off day. And as you mentioned, one of our best pitchers going, and you know, hopefully we'll do well.
All right, Chuck Knobloch, thanks for stopping by. Bob, let's go back up to you.
Jimmy, thanks a lot. Lou Piniella made a lot of sense when he was talking with Jim Gray. He got what he wanted from Halama. He's basically been a 5 or 6 inning pitcher. Joe Torre with his wife Allie and his little daughter. Reason to smile. They're even heading for Seattle. And we're back to the Bronx after this.